from the corner. And it rattles home.
Wow. What a KO, baby.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
And interesting fake and work. It's a touchdown to Ben Sims. Just love the poise of this young quarterback.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
They're going to throw, and they're going to score. It is Thornton celebrating with his teammates.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Empty backfield, four-man rush. And that is intercepted. It's the Marcus Lawrence. Down the sideline, he goes. And look at that. Into the end zone.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, good afternoon. It's bitter in Texas, but we're not telling some of you, Chris in Missouri, those who, of course, the great audience we have in West Virginia, and much more. And by the way, hello to Ray, who is listening and has been watching and listening to us, longtime coach in Belize. Great to get an email.
Right.
Yes, sir. Get an email from him, a couple of them last night. Craig Smoak to my right. Paul Catalina is to my left. And Emery Winter, perfect name for a day like today in the country as it's getting barraged with cold weather. And also Jack McKenzie today in studio. So Texas Tech and also Kansas flexed their muscles. Kansas scored like 150 points. It was like an NBA All-Star game against Kansas State. So they're tuned up, ready to go for Saturday's game day against Baylor. A team with 6 or 7 players. They look good doing it too. And then also last night, all Texas Tech did was take Oklahoma, give them a noogie, and then suffocate them like a boa constrictor.
Yeah, they were mad about that last one.
You think so? A little bit.
Yeah, it certainly got the vibe of that watching. I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights, but you could tell just they were mad about the last one.
Yeah, they were. And so they got that back and pounded Oklahoma. So they continued just ahead at the top. Kansas, Texas Tech, Baylor in the Big 12, which, of course, is a conference that's loaded up. And who knows who's going to make the longest of those teams I mentioned, or perhaps somebody else as well. And then there are games even tonight. TCU plays at Texas and in Austin, West Virginia in Ames against Iowa State. Also the women tonight, Baylor women, who are right now tied for first in the Big 12 Conference with Iowa State. They got a showdown Monday coming up in Ames. They play tonight against Oklahoma State. USFL draft, Paul, thought I'd never say it again. And we have featured some. We're going to have a couple of young men that played at Baylor, one that also transferred to Tulsa in quarterback Zach Smith. Jamison Houston played a little bit in the league and then also was from Baylor. We're going to give you some of the local names or Baylor names drafted, among a couple of other names drafted today in the USFL draft. They're doing this pretty well.
We can hold off until, at least 5 of the other names until the end of the show.
Oh, okay. All right. No, what about some of the other, like I saw Cavante Turpin played at TCU.
Yeah, you can leave off that one.
I didn't see anybody else drafted. But is it okay if we mention Zach Smith?
Absolutely. I left those off on purpose.
Okay. All right. And Ray Grange, by the way, sorry it's not bitter here in Belize. Ray, we were loving you there for a little bit, but oh my goodness. Dave Borges, he writes for the Connecticut media. The Hart Connecticut media was at that UConn-Villanova game. Did you see the drama with their head coach? And is it Dan Hurley? Mm-hmm. Was ejected by an official for trying to get the crowd to get louder after a technical foul. A lot of Twitter stuff going on about that. Grant McCaslin, North Texas has won 12 straight. He'll join us at 4. Seth Greenberg, today at 4:30, ESPN college basketball analyst. We'll have John Machota on the NFL at 5:30, Paul's Top 5. That's pretty much it as far as most of what's going on today. And we'll worry about the USFL draft. That was part of it. I did see this note that Marshall, one of the teams trying to get away from the Conference USA, is suing the league suing the conference to expedite its exit from the league so it can get to the Sun Belt as early as this summer. Earlier, Marshall, Old Dominion, Southern Miss announced they were going to terminate their memberships on June 30th. To become members, of course, then Conference USA released their football schedule, included those teams, so now this thing will go to the legal system.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think of, the very civil proceedings in the Big 12, which are not. But, I mean, like this makes the Big 12 look a little easier.
It never really got legal because Bob Bowlesby, when he sent the flare-up about the cease and desist, and a lot of people, it ended it. It pretty much, for at least, it doesn't mean that Texas and Oklahoma aren't leaving. They are, and that's fine. It's just a matter of that looked like it was imminent, and then all of a sudden it looked like the American Football Conference would somehow end up in a pretty good place, and now they're the ones that have had to kind of look around for who's going to join them because, of course, the Big 12 took 3 of their teams among the 4 that will join them coming up in a couple of years or so. Papa Blake on the chat room. Yeah, UConn coach ejected for throwing arms up at the fans. Did you guys see that? Did any of you see that?
Yeah, it was it categorized as sideline hysterics? They were calling it when
there is a rule. There is a whatever you want to call it. And we'll let Seth Greenberg about it. This might be more of what Dan Hurley's been before. He got a technical foul. There is some sort of rule that is, if you are trying to, it's not the word incite the crowd, something about that. Here's what my point is. We're not there to watch the officials. We're not there to watch the umpires. We're not there to watch the referee. And I do think at times there are some that probably feel like they're as much a part of the game. They're an important part of the game, but they shouldn't be. They should just let the game be played unless there's something egregious. Here's one other thing about that deal. The official who made that call to toss Dan Hurley is the one that made the call at the end of the game when Colin Gillespie was driving in to maybe get off what would be a game-winning shot, and he called the charge. The same one called it. With all due respect to him, do you feel like that came into play? It was probably the right call. It could be argued one way or the other, like most charge block calls. Well, you think that had anything to do, perhaps, in his head in that split second? He called the charge. UConn wins the game.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe. It's hard to say. Officials, it's tough. Basketball especially because the crowd affects the game so much. The coaches, can affect the officiating a lot. So,
yeah, no, I wonder if, in fact, if you think so in the chat room, let us know. 254-339-1122. You let us know as well on the text line. So the official makes the call to say, okay, Dan Hurley, you're trying to incite the crowd or whatever the words were, the term was, and he probably got a little bit under his skin. I don't know why the official would worry about that. But again, I've never been in that position. And so he says, you're gone. UConn battles back. They haven't been very good in basketball in recent years. They've really have been in a little bit of a funk, considering that they're one of the blue chips you would think in college basketball over the years with national titles. And then the last bang played in the game, the same official who ejected Dan Hurley is the one that made the charge call, not the block call. And I'm not saying he got that call wrong, but you wonder if that got in his head with that call. Because if he would have called block and Gillespie hits the free throws, I'm not sure if he gets into the tunnel fast enough. I don't know. I'm not sure. Here's from Papa Blake. I've seen a coach ejection work to motivate a team and come back to win. Yeah, I've seen that too. It didn't help Scott Drew at Kansas. He wasn't ejected. He got the technical foul, and all Kansas did was just separate even more in that game. Good to hear from Chris. What's up, fellas? Good to see you as well. And Scotty B, I think Oklahoma is no longer going to make the NCAA tournament, possibly the same thing if they're not careful for Kansas State. So we thought there were going to be 7, maybe 8 teams, right? Oklahoma State can't go. And now West Virginia's in trouble, Oklahoma's flirting, and Kansas State, I think, might get in.
Iowa State's conference record's terrible.
And then you think that as well, yeah. 3, they're all 4-10 and worse, 4-11 and worse. And Oklahoma State, of course, cannot get it. I'm sorry. They're all under 5. TCU, I think TCU's in. Mm-hmm. Iowa State, you're right. Oklahoma, probably not. And West Virginia, not good. So, but Oklahoma does have the win against Texas Tech. Who knows how that works out? Craig, your thoughts about the USFL? We're going to get into some of the names, local football players, and also Baylor. But just the USFL, did you even know that was going on today?
Yeah, I was the only one tweeting about Baylor guys this morning, and I think that's probably how most people actually found out it actually was going on.
Yeah,
I'm not tooting my own horn, but I looked around last night. There was not a single mention of anything from Baylor football or for any other account, and I had a couple tweets ready to go, and then Chris Platt actually got drafted, I don't know, like 9 o'clock this morning or something weird like that. So he was one that I didn't have right at the time. But, yeah, I had Jake Burton and Jamison Houston tweeted out this morning, and both those guys are now in the USFL, and Chris Platt is as well. So good for those guys. And I don't know if I'm ruining Paul's thing or whatever, but no. And a bunch of other Big 12 guys that I guess we'll get to. And, we'll see with this league. It's, a relaunch, but a rebirth in many ways. We know the fabled history of the old USFL. A lot of old-timers will, harken back to that fondly like it was some golden period, but I don't know because I wasn't around for it. But, you hear all these stories from the USFL. Not that it was like some great league that everybody loved, but just it had a lot of interesting stories, whether it be the players on the field or the ownership or the end of it. It's competition with the NFL, what have you. That was a league that in, not a really lengthy amount of time really made a little notch in history for itself. Yep. And so that's why you see a league trying to reuse its magic a little bit with the locations and the cities and the league name itself. Although, they are the one playing all their games in Birmingham, right?
Yep.
This first year. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out. But hey, it's another league. I'll admit the AAF and the Spring League and, whatever else is the one little, very brief return of the XFL, those have actually damaged my hopes for anything really lasting because I felt like, there were years where other leagues would pop up and they didn't work out or whatever. But then there was this move and there was a bunch of leagues popping up at one time. And then they all just went away almost immediately. Or they just have been kind of herky-jerk, kind of like the Spring League is sort of a thing, but not really. You know what I'm saying? It's there, but not many people know about it. But now, hey, the USFL, the XFL returning next year. We'll see if one of these can actually catch on. I'll admit my optimism over that is a lot lower than it used to be, years ago when I thought, hey, maybe a league can come up and actually last for a while. But we'll see. I think the XFL with The Rock pushing it, they're going to do it business-wise, very smart. I think they'll be fine. USFL, we'll see. It seems like they've got pretty good organization, should have good crowds there in Birmingham, and, we'll see after that. But I'm glad these guys are getting another opportunity.
I don't know how much they're getting paid. Zach Smith told me today when I was on the phone with him for a little bit, who will join us in about 20 minutes or so about getting drafted by New Orleans, that he just knew that there was the season started April the 16th. There'll be a training camp. He doesn't know how long. A lot of that still remains to be seen because I'm not sure how many really thought they were going to get drafted. I thought they did a great job with the graphics. Looked like Jack was doing it on the graphics of players getting drafted. Some of them have been in the league a little bit on and off with different teams. And so it'll be fun. Paul, that's going to be your segment at the end of the show, right?
Yeah, there's just a couple. I left all the Baylor and local guys off for the most part and just kind of the bigger names. But
that's why you told me about Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
But I do think it's interesting. They have – all these leagues now know what not to do. What you need to focus on is not trying to be some sort of competitor to the NFL. That's what Vince McMahon messed up the first time with the XFL, and he thought he was going to invent this brand of football that people were going to like more, and then he stood at the 50-yard line in LA with last as the XFL.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, he looked like a clown when it came to football. He looked like a wrestling, what he is a wrestling promoter. And so nobody took it seriously. It was a mess anyway behind the scenes. There were a lot of things going on. USFL, actually made some strides and some inroads in changing some things that the NFL did, but they made the mistake ultimately of getting too big too fast, and then they let one owner talk them into moving to the spring. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want the chat room to
No, go ahead and say
Donald
it.
Trump.
It was President Trump. He wasn't then at the time.
But so they let one guy talk him into moving out of the spring and into the fall, and then it just killed him. And so they know now not to do those things. So be a league that has room for the talent that's not in the NFL or the CFL or whatever, and grow it that way, and don't try to don't try to you can't get the Jim Kellys and the Reggie Whites
Kelvin
anymore.
Bryant,
But you can get some good players that, wouldn't get a chance to play otherwise and have a decent football.
What has the NFL done? They've gone 12 months a year.
Yeah.
They've now created even seasons during the offseason, whether it's the combine or it's the draft or whatever it might be. The schedule now becomes a big deal. So there's a thirst for football. College football fans wish the season maybe, I don't know, if you if you want it longer or not, but I think people would love, college football, perhaps to go an extra 2 or 3 weeks or so. Maybe not games, but just the season. So there is a thirst for football. There really is. This USFL is the only league. There was the WFL before that. It's the only league that really caught other people's attention with the names like Reggie White, Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Ricky Sanders, who's played on a Super Bowl team with Washington, and with Kelvin Bryant among Jim Kelly. I mentioned there are some great names. But they were able to pay them good money, and then they got happy. And Craig, you might have mentioned this before. Too many times, these new leagues, we mentioned it to Daryl Johnston, they come in, as you say, Paul, they get a little traction, maybe even more or less than they want, and then they try to expand too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the case in some leagues, but I don't think that's the case in like the AAF. I mean, they just were who they were, and it's not like they went out and added 4 expansion teams and all of a sudden they were losing money. Like, they were pretty much what they were at the start and at the finish. The new XFL, same way. The new XFL, we'll see how that plays. But again, I have confidence with someone like The Rock and his ex-wife / business partner, who's very talented, very, thorough, very good at executing deals. They're a power couple or a power X couple, whatever, but still work really well together. And they've made some huge moves in Hollywood, and this was a kind of an unforeseen move that they made to come swoop up the XFL for, pennies on the dollar from his buddy Vince. And they're taking their time, which I think is smart because, they're originally going to launch this year, and they said, no, we're going to push it back an entire year to 2023. Now, you may think, well, shoot, everybody's going to forget about it by then, but I think quite the opposite. I think that just the fact that The Rock's attached to it, they'll create and keep some buzz. They have this little mini partnership now at the NFL that's not on-field stuff. It's just them testing out things, really. But that could come into play in developing other relationships. And, the biggest thing to me, though, with any of these leagues is we hear about them and people like drum up this kind of half-hearted excitement, quite frankly, for it because we all know NFL is king. There's got to be star power to keep me watching. I think there is a thirst for football. I think you're right. But I think that thirst for football can be quenched by video games or betting or doing all sorts of other activities. And ultimately, with those other leagues, who am I watching this for? I'm not watching this because I'm a proud Michiganite or whatever the phrase is, and not trying to be disrespectful there, Michigonian or whatever the phrase is. I'm not just going to start rooting for the Michigan Panthers because of local ties. Like, why am I rooting? Like, maybe if I'm a Shea Patterson fan, then that's why you would root for him. But if that's like your big star power in this league is Shea Patterson and Jordan Tiamu, and like, I'm sorry, but those weren't even really big stars in college football. In the SEC, they weren't even huge stars, or the Big Ten. So that's what I think ultimately is really the Achilles heel of these leagues. The AAF, and then they're trying to get the Johnny Manziel. Like, we got Johnny Manziel. How long did that excitement last?
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes because Johnny turned into Johnny really quickly. So, can they create some stars? That's the big thing. Can you create stars and not just rely on a household name from college football that maybe half the country really knew about, drumming up all the excitement for you?
I would think your best bet, and I know we got to call Zach here in a second.
No,
but
I forgot Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
Kind of
the
a large
USFL,
name in the USFL. Thank you, John.
I think the reason he's running for Senate is because of his connection with the owner of the team he played for, Donald Trump. But but one of the things, there was a league, I don't know if you guys remember this, and this has been like maybe almost 14, 15 years ago, when guys like Eric Crouch and all that had kind of been out of the NFL for a couple of years, they tried to start another professional league, but built it in college towns, and they were playing in the spring. There's a Gainesville team and a Lincoln team and a Tuscaloosa team that would play in the off seasons, and they were both made up of guys from, or maybe it was Tampa, but it was mostly guys from those regions.
I don't remember anything about that.
College football. But there was guys like Chris Doring and guys like that who had been out of the league for a minute, which was part of the problem with the old USFL is they went and got guys who had almost retired and had no knees left and said, we need you to come and play in this league. And another reason it kind of faltered, but they did that. So maybe that model, if you don't let them be out of football for a couple years, if you get a college star who's not an NFL guy, I'm thinking about A&M players like a Jamar Toombs or something like that. If you get him, then maybe you can have some marketability.
I didn't see Kendall Wright or Corey Coleman. Those guys, some of those guys are back and forth with the Canadian Football League, but again, they're kind of past now their time of when they were stars in college and they've had their opportunities in the NFL. We need to hit Zach Smith on time. I can't believe I forgot Herschel Walker, so I apologize for doing that. Craig, do you want to make one quick comment in the break?
No, I think we're shutting it down. So, let's take a break.
Smith,
Michigander, I guess, is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Thank you for passing that on.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, when we come back, Zach Smith played at Baylor, played at Tulsa. He was drafted today by New Orleans. He'll join us along with Jamison Houston, young man who played at Baylor, played in the league a little bit, just didn't stick in his opportunity. And who also knows if some of these guys get another chance to be seen if they are picked up at training camps or elsewhere in the NFL, which could be kind of a boomerang effect. Maybe not many, who knows? But that's also part of it as well. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive in North 19th Street in Waco. Look, they just had a big event last week. Happy Dad Hard Seltzer, their owners were there. And one of the cool things about Riverbend Liquor and Wine is they're always getting the newest and coolest products. The cool things that, you may not expect to find in a local hometown liquor store. They've got everything there. I mean, whether it comes to craft beer, high-end bourbons, wine, whatever you need, they've got it there. Great customer service in a drive-through window that is so fast you won't even know that you're in a drive-through. It's that fast. They can just get it done really quickly. And if you're lost and you need something, you're trying to buy a gift for somebody who's a wine lover or a whiskey lover, they like gin, they'll tell you what a great gift for them is. All of that at Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive, North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
1, 2. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, This is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Save big during the President's Day sales event at Allen Samuels. The new 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L has total values of $2,000. For all first responders, get an extra $500. Shop the new car inventory for power, performance, style, and reliability today from their huge new car and truck inventory only at Allen Samuels in Waco. Now's the time to drive the amazing Jeep Grand Cherokee L you want.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
I mentioned Ray Grange, that he's in Belize, and I thought he might be on the dock of the bay with a cigar, maybe whatever. He said, I'm trying to stay incognito, Smokey. Would you?
Okay, yeah. That's why people go to Belize.
Bert in Belize, we appreciate that. Thanks to Letty. I called him the Godfather. He goes, Godfathers tend to get bumped off.
That's fine. It's fine.
All right, we're now joined by Zach Smith, former Grandview High School All-State and played at Baylor and then finished up his college career and transferred to Tulsa and joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio, selected by New Orleans in today's USFL Draft Day number 2. Zach, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Were you expecting the call, and what does this giving you yet another opportunity to play mean to you?
Yeah, I wasn't. I talked with the offensive coordinator from New Orleans several times in the weeks leading up, and I had a good feeling about it. But you never really know how those things are going to go. So I kept my fingers crossed, prayed about it, and end up getting selected. So super grateful for that, and man, just the opportunity to keep playing, keep chasing my dream, and keep getting after it, man. I couldn't be more grateful to be able to be a part of that team.
You mentioned chasing your dream. For quarterbacks in particular, it's got to be a lot harder to break into professional football because if you get drafted in the NFL, if you go to a team that already has an established starter, you don't really get reps, and that's what you need, right, Zach, is reps to show what you can do.
Yeah, same as it is anywhere, man. You got to get your foot in the door and, get in front of some guys and, showcase your talent. And unfortunately, I haven't had that opportunity yet, but I'm looking forward to, this opportunity with Breakers and getting to get out there and, show what I can do.
Zach, how have you kept yourself busy since wrapping up your playing days at Tulsa?
I've really just been, staying, working out and throwing, never knowing when my number is going to get called. And I've been doing that. I've been living here back home in Grandview, just up the road from Waco. Doing that and, kind of working for grandparents a little bit, doing odd jobs here and there with some family friends, and working with some cows, and just trying to keep myself busy any way I can. Playing a little golf here and there.
Well, that sounds like you got a lot going on. I mean, I want to get into the cows part of that. Are you just like herding them a little bit, or are you just kind of making sure they're healthy? You feeding them what?
Yeah, feeding them, working them, administering, medicine. We actually had a mama had trouble giving birth, so I had to get in there and pull a calf out of her.
There you go.
Okay, you've got to explain. Yeah, I've seen that, and I probably don't want to see it again. But you're right there, basically the delivery, right?
City Slickers, didn't they have a scene like that?
Yeah, the delivery's not happening unless I'm in there. So,
do you have now a special bond with those cows? Because, I mean, that's a very personal experience.
I tell you, it makes you appreciate life. You get to see the full circle, and I guess you could say you're a little bit closer with them.
When was the first time you experienced that? How old were you when you were like close enough to see what was going on? Was it like as a child or not?
Yeah, probably as a child. Growing up, I grew up on a ranch out there west of Cleveland, Texas, and I grew up out there for maybe 10 years. Lived out there, and we had cows, horses, stuff like that. So I was immersed in it at a young age.
It's amazing. Zach Smith, now a part of the New Orleans Breakers. What have they told you, if anything yet? What's going on? What's next?
I don't really have the full details on everything. I don't really know when I'm leaving and going out there yet when we report. But talked to the OC, and I think we're going to try to get on a call, me and the other quarterback, and start installing some offense here pretty quick.
How excited are you? I mean, I know you kind of said it here at the very beginning, but I mean, to have a ball rolling, to know that you need to start getting it. I know you've been working out, but you're working out with a purpose of hey, joining a team and earning a job and doing all of that. I mean, you said you've been waiting on it, but to know there is this opportunity now coming and it's not as much of a question mark. What's that mean to you, and how excited does that make you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ecstatic. When I got that phone call, I was, just overjoyed. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long year this last year that I've had, but I've kept my nose down and kept working, kept grinding, and you can't fail if you don't ever quit. So that's kind of the mindset.
Zach, there's other players that have been drafted. Some of them that played at Baylor when you were there as well. Have you been able to kind of watch who else is a part of this? And I saw where a former star at New Mexico State, a running back, was drafted just recently as well. So have you been able to be in touch with anybody?
I've tried to get in contact with. I sent a message to Chris Platt and Jameson.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard back yet, but super excited for them to get this opportunity, and it's kind of cool seeing some of my former teammates are going to be in the same league with me. So. Well, it's pretty neat.
Jameson's coming up right after you, so that's an interesting tie-in. We'll make sure he understands you're trying to get a hold of him. That's good.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Zach, I wanted to ask you, Jackson Player, you knew a little bit about him when you were up there at Tulsa. He announced a couple months back that he's heading to Baylor, and I know a lot of Baylor fans are familiar with him because he played high school here in Waco at Midway, but what kind of a player can you explain to Baylor fans they're getting next year in transfer Jackson Player?
Man, he's kind of freakish for his size. He's ever since I've known him, played with him 2 years, and he's the quickest D lineman off the ball that I've seen. And just in 2 words, I would say play disruptor. He's going to disrupt as many plays as anyone. And I kind of compare him to kind of like an Aaron Donald type of player, where he's just quick. He beats you off the line, and he's going to be in your face all game. So I'm excited for him. This is an opportunity. I know he's going to bring a great aspect to the new Baylor team.
We watched him in high school, and you just absolutely described him to a T, not at just Tulsa, but also in high school, and what Baylor hopes he gets to do for one more year. How much history do you know? I know you weren't born, but how much history do you even know about the former USFL that had names like Herschel Walker and Jim Kelly and Reggie White, among others?
Yeah, I think those guys ended up being all right. But yeah, I know a little bit about the league, and I know I end up not following through, but some great names, Hall of Fame names that played in the former USFL, and I'm hoping that this league has a little bit more longevity. I think it will, and I think it's going to add another great aspect to the game of football.
Hey, Zach, congratulations. It kind of brought us into it because of your name popping up among some others. You mentioned Chris Platt, Jameson Houston, among others. And so we'll be watching you. Good luck with it, and hope this one is stable and gives you the chance you've been waiting for. Thanks for your time.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Zach Smith delivering babies. I had to get up all up
Cow
in there,
babies.
otherwise that delivery was not going to happen. I would not be able to. Could you do that if it was life and death?
Yeah.
I think so. It would be something that I'd have to maybe pop a pill or something beforehand.
I mean, what would you rather live with? The guilt of maybe killing a cow calf because you're too much of a chicken to get in there, or just swallowing your pride and getting over it and doing it. So I mean, it's, and especially if you grew up in Cleburne, Texas.
Yeah,
it's not like that's that foreign to you.
For some, it's just normal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he grew up with. So, some kid in New York listening right now won't understand and be like, I just let it die, I guess, or whatever they might think. But no, you grew up in Cleburne. You're not gonna be that worried about it. But yeah, I'm happy for Zach. Had a good little career at Tulsa, and now happy that he's getting an opportunity to play some more football like a lot of these other guys, including who we're about to talk to.
In fact, he's been trying to. Jamison Houston will join us now. He joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Today, he was drafted into the USFL as well, and former Baylor cornerback went to St. Michael's Catholic in Austin. Jamison, thanks for your time. And by the way, Zach Smith's trying to get in touch with you. He just told us that. We just had him on the show.
Oh, okay. I got to call him there. I'm not sure if I even have his number.
Well, we'll text it to you after this segment. How about that?
That sounds good to me.
All right, you were drafted, actually, I said today, the second round today, the second day today. You were drafted last night. What was that like? Yeah.
Yeah, I was drafted last night in the second round, the 5th pick.
Yeah, that has a lot, and that's not surprising because, again, you've been in the league. You've been in the NFL. What was the process like leading up to the draft, and what did you expect?
That's kind of what I expected. I kind of expected to go a little earlier also. I've always think highly of myself, so I kind of already knew what to expect and what was coming. So, it really wasn't it wasn't really too much of a shocker to me.
So, what do you know about your schedule coming up? What do you have to do? I mean, I know that there's a training camp. You're going to be all living in Birmingham, kind of together, all the teams. What's that going to be like?
I'm not really sure the schedule. I just know we report probably March 21st. I know the season starts April 21st. And, we just go from there. I talked to Coach last night. We'll hop on Zoom calls, and do what we need to do. Do as much as we can before we get there. So when we get there, we can have the ball rolling already.
So, Jamison, you're going to the Michigan Panthers, one of these original franchises. And as Paul mentioned, you'll be playing your games in Birmingham. But, this league, like other leagues that pop up, obviously present more opportunities. After having a little bit of a dip in the NFL and wanting to continue your playing career, obviously, how huge was that to know that, hey, here's another opportunity coming my way to try and make my mark?
Oh, man, it was huge for sure. It was huge. I always want to, just to be able to have another opportunity like this, is a blessing. So, I'm going to go out there, and, show everybody what I can do, and just play ball, and just, like I said, having this opportunity to show everybody that, I belong and I can play in the NFL. That's really what I want to do.
Well, and you have, as Craig mentioned, Cleveland, Carolina, Philadelphia, Jacksonville. You've been there. It hasn't always worked out. That's part of the business as well. How much does that fuel your fire that you've been so close but not quite close enough?
Man, it's been like that all my life. Since St. Michael's, and I've always been overlooked. Even when I was at Baylor, I was overlooked. So it's always that's just something that always stuck with me. I always got a chip on my shoulder just for things like that. So, like I said, when I get there, I got a point to prove. So, yeah, that's that.
What did you know about the USFL before the previous iteration, the one from the 80s? Anything?
I actually didn't know anything about it. The only thing I knew, me and my agent talked about it. He mentioned the XFL, I know it's kind of different, but I haven't really known much or even heard much about the USFL, actually, so it's kind of new to me.
Jamison, your time in the pros and just the transition from college ball, where you obviously played a lot for the Bears, and then just going through the business side of things. So what was the biggest, I guess, learning lesson, and just what was that experience like of seeing the business side of professional football?
It's definitely a business, Man, it's not really much of a difference. The competition, everyone's great, when it comes to the NFL and stuff, but it's really not much of a difference, and it's just like, you got to, it's everyone's for themselves, so you got to go out there and, and do what you got to do every day. So, cause, it's, every day, there's someone behind you trying to, take what you can take the spot that you have already. So,
we just had Zach on. Orion Stewart just texted in. We have you among some others that are former Baylor players that are, of course, getting this opportunity. And Orion's been in the league as well. How much will that make it fun that you're going to be kind of seeing some guys that were either there when you were there, before you were there, or after you left?
Yeah, me and Orion was actually on the phone earlier. I called him and we talked about everything. I seen that he got picked and we were on the same team. And, me and Orion played together 2015 and 2016. We were real close. And, like I said, he played safety and I played corner. So we kind of already have, you play with somebody already, y'all had a communication and stuff like that and the comfortability. So we kind of already have that with each other. So I think that'll be good for both of us.
Jamison, how much did you get to watch the Baylor Bears this past season?
Man, I watched them every game. They definitely played great.
Yeah, Big 12 champs, Sugar Bowl champs. Your thoughts on just, obviously the first year with Dave Aranda, who's a tremendous coach and defensive coach, it was a little bit rocky because of COVID and all that, but just your thoughts as a former player, knowing what the program's been through, to see them, not only get into that game, but, win games like the Big 12 title and the Sugar Bowl and 12 games overall. What did that mean to you as a former player who's been through the grind with this program?
Man, it means a lot to me because, everyone overlooks Baylor, and everyone, they don't have a good schedule, they don't have good players, this and that, So to see us go win, the Big 12 championship and then the Sugar Bowl, you kind of just like shows people like, okay, like, they definitely got players who can play, they definitely got good coaches. So, and for Baylor and for us, we want to be the best in Texas. So that kind of, shows everybody there.
What does it mean when you see how they're playing defense? Not that you guys didn't start to squeeze things yourself when you were there as far as making plays for Coach Bennett and company and then Coach Rule, but now what they've done with Dave Aranda and that defense?
Man, they definitely playing some defense. I'm not really sure what scheme they're playing, but, I see guys like J.T. Woods and Jalen Petrie and Terrell Bernard. Those guys they're definitely playing. And they're playing at a really high level. So, it makes me it's exciting to see them playing like that.
All right, so I want to go back to 2020. You initially were with Carolina. Matt Rule, of course, was there. But then Philadelphia, and you actually weren't just on the practice squad. You were elevated and active for games, real games, in the end of the season. What was that like, even though not but more 3 games or so, to just be actually in a uniform, in a real game in the league?
Man, it was definitely a blessing. Just to be out there with those guys and learning from guys like Darius Slade and just those vets out there. It was definitely a blessing. Like I said, just being able to be around those guys, it was great. I learned a lot from them, and so when I'm able to take that and what I've learned, from guys like Darius Slade and, other guys that I play with, I can take that now and use what they've taught me, and I'm going to take that and use it for the USFL.
Jamison, Jeff Fisher's your head coach at Birmingham. He's got a good history in the NFL. He hasn't always been successful. That's why he's not still coaching, but he did a heck of a job. Do you know anything about him?
I don't. Me and the defensive coordinator talked last night, and he actually mentioned that I wanted to play for anybody in USFL. It would be Jeff Fisher because no one's going to listen to, a guy like Jeff Fisher because, like I say, like you said, he's been in NFL, he has a good background and stuff like that. So I'm actually excited to, have him as my head coach.
You know how close that play was when Oklahoma State had the ball about an inch from the goal line when Jaron McVay made the play against Oklahoma State to win the Big 12 title when the ball was stretched out towards the pylon?
Yes, sir. I remember that.
Tennessee Titans' Super Bowl appearance against the Rams was not quite that close, but pretty darn close with a tackle inside the 5-yard line that would have won the Super Bowl. So he was that close to winning a Lombardi Trophy as the head coach of Tennessee. So that's who you're about to play for in Michigan. We appreciate you, man. It's great to have you on the show. We'll be in touch. Glad that you're back in the state of Texas, and good luck at Michigan.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me on the call today. Make sure Zach reaches out to me, because I'm not sure if I have his number.
I will text him. I will text you his number. Thank you.
Yes.
Jameson,
yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Former Baylor cornerback. He spent some time in the league, then got a chance to play a little bit in 2020 for Philadelphia, and now part of the Michigan.
He sounds excited.
Yeah, I like that they kept. I was a little bit weird initially about all the old names. I like now that because I like those names. I like some of those names, and I'm glad they kept them.
Yeah, I mean, they could have come out with, the Commanders and the Guardians and whatever else, and people would have poo-pooed all over it. But I thought David Hellman made a good point about just kind of not having a knee-jerk reaction. The Commanders, when I hear it initially, I don't like it. I really don't like the name. But can I grow to love it? Sure. Will I? I don't think I probably will, honestly, but we'll see. If they won 5 Super Bowls, it might be the coolest name of all time, But yeah, it's just cool for these guys to have this opportunity and to have a little bit of history involved as well. I think that's really what makes the USFL unique, is that it's not just a random startup with no history behind it. Like, they'd be kind of stupid to not use the history, because it's the only thing that separates them from the AAF or the XFL or the countless others that have all tried to jump up and be something and create brand new teams. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to see these guys it's fun to hear the excitement in these guys' voices getting this opportunity. And, again, you just hope it's something that can actually build a solid foundation and last for, more than a season, because that's typically what we've seen. These leagues come and go pretty quickly, or they kind of hang around, but you forget about them past the first year. So there's at least some excitement drummed up, and we'll see what happens. But I'm most excited for these guys being excited to have this chance.
Absolutely. So he goes to Michigan. Orion Stewart just sent me a text. Larry Rose, the third. Paul, did I just screw up? Just don't even answer the question.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get to that with your top 5. And we come back. Last night, huge win for UConn over Villanova. Very, very tense game. We're going to come back with Dave Borges. He covers UConn men's basketball, and he's next on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Discover Woodway. Go to discoverwoodway.com to get more information on renting out their Arboretum, the Pavilion. The Carling Bright Arboretum is absolutely gorgeous, and it's a great place for any kind of meetings. Now, you can seat up to 360, so we're not talking about a meeting of 6 to 8 people. But if you have a gala, a banquet, a fundraiser, a wedding or rehearsal dinner, or anything of that nature, and you want to, be in the middle of nature, because where they are is just gorgeous. The landscaping, the facility, huge windows that show you all of what is around the Carling Bright Arboretum, the Pavilion, where people go and have these big meetings. And on top of that, you sometimes worry about hosting something in a facility or a complex, and they go, well, you got to use our food, or these are the only places you can use. And I get that, because they're corporate sponsors. Well, there, you can bring your own caterer, whoever you want, to help feed how many people? Up to 360, in fact. And again, it's a beautiful facility, clean, spacious, and they've got the audio, visual, whatever you need for that as well. It's the the Carling Bright Arboretum. It is the Pavilion, and it can host what you need. Also, 7 hotels in Woodway for all the times you come to Waco to see the silos or perhaps Baylor events as well. It's discoverwoodway.com.
This is your 54th District Judge, Susan Kelly. Appointed to the court by Governor Greg Abbott, I've worked hard to manage and move the docket, even during COVID. Board certified in criminal law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization and past president of the Waco Bar Association, you can be sure I apply the rule of law and deliver justice for all. Early voting starts February 14th, so be my Valentine and vote for justice. Keep Judge Kelly.
Political ad paid for by Susan Kelly from McLennan County Judge Campaign.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio with socially distanced seating for your enjoyment. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Payments for qualified buyers at 2.9% with $5,000 down cash or trade. TT and Electra, see dealer for details.
The New Year, New Ride sales event continues at Richard Carr. Find pre-owned deals like a 2015 GMC Acadia or a 2016 Honda Accord for $227 a month. Or get a 2019 Ram Tradesman truck for $333 a month. Our vehicles go through a 172-point inspection. Get top dollar for your trade, and 100% approval is always the goal. Find your next car or truck today at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco is a hidden gem. They've got a great selection of spirits, wine, and the most extensive selection of craft beer in Waco in their gorgeous walk-in fridge. And they have an amazing array of high-end bourbons like Pinhook, Weller, Buffalo Trace, Brush Creek, Hotel, Garrison Brothers, Thomas S. Moore, Hooten Young, and Bardstown. Great customer service and a convenient and speedy drive-through window. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from select, choice, or prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strips, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Erie Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Search 365 Sports on YouTube.
Last night, huge win for UConn against Villanova in a battle of names, logos, and, of course, Villanova, who Baylor saw earlier this year when they squeezed them tight with the defense. But a great win for UConn, kind of an intense moment with Dan Hurley. And it was interesting, to say the least, as I was watching that. Dave Borges joins us. Hart, Connecticut Media, covers UConn men's basketball. And Dave, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. How big a win was that for UConn? Is that, again, we're looking at they're okay, but how big of a win was that for momentum and just kind of getting something back?
Well, it was huge because really maybe the biggest reason is because they hadn't beat Villanova in 8 years. And in fact, they hadn't beaten them since Dan Hurley took over 4 years ago. Villanova had won won 4 straight over them since Hurley took over, including about 2 weeks ago in Philadelphia when they really beat UConn pretty handily. So it was important to kind of get over that hump for UConn and for Hurley to prove that they can beat the team that's really been the top program in the Big East for about a decade now.
All right, so explain why he was thrown out last night.
Well, in simple black and white, he got a technical for pounding the scorer's table after a no call. He felt one of his players was fouled, and there was no call. Dan seemed to say after the game that he pounded the table simply because he was upset that his player had missed the layup. But he is no doubt he let out some expletives, got the technical. At that point, he was missed a little bit, but it was over and done with. The kid goes to the free throw line to shoot the technical foul shot. Dan turns around to pump up the crowd, waving his arms in the air to get the crowd noisy so they could distract the foul shot. And they did, and the referee took umbrage to that and thought he was kind of showing the ref up, and he slammed Dan with a second technical, which is the automatic ejection.
So what was his response after all that?
Well, he was just shocked. I mean, he actually didn't really put up much of a fight going back to the locker room. I think he just, like you said, it was kind of a surreal thing, and just couldn't believe that he had been tossed for trying to rile the crowd up. And I think there's a little history between him and the referee there, and there's certainly been some friction with Dan and the refs throughout this Big East season a couple of different times. So, Dan's got to be a little more careful because the refs, they're human, and sometimes they could be out to get you.
How ironic was it, Dave, that at the end of the game when Colin Gillespie's driving to try to get off a shot to win it, there's the bang bang, and you know how charge and also block calls can go, that Breeding's the one that made that call in favor of UConn.
Well, not only that, but about 15 seconds earlier, Gillespie was trapped in the corner of a full court press, and looked like the two UConn guys were all over him, and really kind of, and not only was no foul call, but it was a jump ball possession situation, which gave the ball back to UConn, and so two key calls down the stretch go UConn's way. Sometimes I was talking to someone at halftime, an NBA guy at halftime, you're saying, this might serve to, with the crowd going crazy and going, shouting obscenities at the refs, this might help UConn getting some calls down the stretch, and maybe it did.
What do you think the ceiling is for this UConn team?
The ceiling? I think that they're a team that can get to the Sweet 16, win a couple of games, get to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Depending on matchups after that, we'll see. I don't think this team is built to win 6 games in the tournament. They're just a little too streaky with their outside shooting, with their guard play. After RJ Cole, they haven't had really consistent guard play, and you need those kind of things in the tournament. But they can get hot. They can beat a couple of teams. So I don't know. I'd say second weekend of the tournament would be my guess. But it's so wide open because, as you know, there's so much parity in college basketball these days that there's dozens of teams that could make a run and even surprise people to get to the Final Four.
What was that like, Dave, to see the court storming? I mean, that's not something you think that UConn storms the court all that often, but I mean, you mentioned it, the losing streak, just the wanting to be back on the mountaintop, the craziness going on there at the end of the game. I mean, what kind of a special night was that for UConn basketball?
It was big. I mean, great atmosphere, sold-out crowd, biggest, most enthusiastic crowd that's been in that building for quite a while. And, someone pointed out that, yes, UConn, the 4 national titles, maybe you think they'd be above storming the court, but these students have been through a lot of losing over the past 7 or 8 years. They were in the American Conference where they didn't want to be, and quite frankly, they weren't very good for many of those years, and they didn't have the marquee opponents coming into town, teams that they really related to. So now that they're back with the Big East teams coming in and the cream of the Big East, Villanova coming in, I think people were cool with the fact that the students were kind of stormed the court out of a little bit of they haven't been able to do it for so long.
Just excited,
and you would think with UConn and their reputation of what they've done, although like you said, it's been a while, that they wouldn't do that. But I mean, let them have fun, right? As long as nothing ends up being anything out of it. We've seen that now before, Texas Tech against Texas, and we've seen other schools that have stormed the court as well.
Yeah, I mean, UConn's biggest win over the past 5 years or so was when they beat Houston, which is a team you guys probably are familiar with. Obviously a very good team. 2 years ago in their their season home finale. They beat Houston. Houston was ranked at the time, not the Final Four year, but the year before that. So, but again, there's no real rivalry between UConn and Houston, and it's just different. A Big East rival, an original Big East team, top 10 team. It's a little bit different for the UConn fan base. So they were really excited about that win.
UConn right now 17th in the Ken Pom ratings through last night, so that's a good number as well. How many teams do you feel like Providence, Villanova, UConn, Creighton, Marquette, which has kind of been a little bit, kind of sliding a little bit. Shaka's still got a pretty good team. How deep do they go in that conference with the number of teams who make the tournament?
Yeah, I think it could be 6 or 7. I mean, I think Seton Hall has pretty good metric numbers. They haven't been. I think they have a losing record in the league right now. But if you go by sort of the Ken Pom and the net and stuff like that, their numbers are pretty good. In fact, Creighton's numbers aren't that great in that, but I think they're practically a top 25 team with the way they played lately. So, those teams you mentioned, I think Seton Hall, and I think who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting one? Like you said, Marquette, Creighton, Xavier. Xavier's another team that's on the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe inside the bubble right now. So, you're looking at 6 or 7 teams in that league possibly.
Hey, Dave, we appreciate your time. It was an exciting we're starting to see that almost March Madness feel as we get closer, as these seasons start to wrap up, conference lines on seedings, NCAA tournaments. Thanks for your time. Enjoyed the atmosphere. Appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Good talking to you.
Dave Borges again. Hart, Connecticut Media covered UConn last night. UConn is got a 17th Ken Pom. Marquette 33, Xavier 37. We're about to hear from Grant McCaslin from the University of North Texas. They've won 12 in a row from Conference USA, and they're 39 when it comes to Ken Pom, and they made a great run, remember, last year. One of the heck of a Cinderella story, the University of North Texas. Next on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Get your name on that inbound vehicle list right now at Richard Carr so you can make sure and get your new car or truck as soon as they arrive on the lot. Right now, a lot of great deals on both new and pre-owned vehicles at Richard Carr. But either way, if you're looking to buy new, get your name on that inbound vehicle list. And if you're looking to buy used, well, they've got some lenders that will be glad to talk to you and will be awfully helpful in getting you into a new ride. They've got a wide variety of trucks, including the GMC Sierras. Sierra's got a 277 horsepower engine. It's got best-in-class cargo bed volume, massive leg and headroom, luxury interior, and a ride that compares to a luxury sedan. Richard Carr has Sierras in stock right now. Get 0% for 72 months for qualified buyers. They also have a wide array of SUVs to choose from. 11 different models from GMC, Buick, and Cadillac. 11 different models within dozens of trim options. So truly a plethora of ways you could go with your GMC, Buick, or Cadillac SUV. Richard Carr is a one-stop shop for that perfect SUV for your needs. So check out the Buick Encores, the Cadillac Escalades, and more. Call now, come by now, or go online to find that perfect ride for your family. And I mentioned you can buy new, but you can also buy pre-owned. Each pre-owned vehicle over at Richard Carr goes through a 172-point inspection before hitting the lot. And they have over 10 lenders who will work with you and do what it takes to get you in a car today, as 100% credit approval is always the goal. So check out all the great deals and options over at Richard Carr. Trust the good local people you can count on for over 20 years in Central Texas. Log on to richardcarr.com today.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneerboys.com.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Shorty's Pizza Shack at 12th and Bagby is a homegrown, family-owned and operated must-visit pizza place in Waco. Fantastic pizza by the slice or get the whole pie to share. Great happy hour specials every single day, and it's not just pizza. Great wings. You have to try the Sikkim sauce, chili cheese fries, pizza pillows, and more. Dine in for a great hangout or carry-out. Order online at shortyspizzashack.com or do yourself a favor and bring your crew to the restaurant at 12th and Bagby. Shorty's Pizza Shack. Tell them Paul sent you by.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Flagler for three. Yes.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
If anyone thought last year's run by the University of North Texas and their men's basketball team was just one of those things, you don't know Grant McCaslin and you don't know what he does as a coach, and the former Baylor assistant joins us now. A 12-game winning streak. Grant McCaslin joins us, Sikkim 365 Radio. David Smoak, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak. You guys are red hot. I know that's an understatement. What are you doing now that perhaps is even better than what you were doing already?
Hey, fellas. Good to catch up with you. I'll tell you, it's been a build, and that's what's been great about it. I mean, we're better defensively than we've been since we've been here. It's our best year, and that's kind of given us a chance in every game. And then over the course of the season, we've established, who's going to score for us, and guys have identified roles. Super unselfish group. I mean, we've had some talent. I think what made the last couple of years great was we had won the conference 2 years ago, but didn't get the tournament, just like the Bears didn't, and their success. I mean, it could be back-to-back national champions. And then we returned our best team, but we didn't get to practice much with that team. And so I think just the continuity, finally, we kind of got the whole thing going. And defensively, those where we've separated.
Yeah, January 6th was your last loss to UAB, and then you avenged that this weekend. Again, that just close games too, blowouts. You've been able to do it either way, but a team's kind of mettle determined this time of year is in close games. What's been your key in those close games to where you seem to make the plays when you need to?
Well, that's honestly the advantage of playing at a tempo and playing what some would call a slower tempo, but we call it, an efficient team. We're comfortable with getting late in the clock. We're comfortable with having a guard for 25 seconds on the defensive end. Just got a team that's gritty, and I mean, if you want to play fast, our group can handle it defensively. We're just patient offensively. So honestly, that's where our team is really grown and established winning, is being able to get in half court games and make the right decisions and try to do it for 40 minutes, where some people, bail at some point, want to shoot it quick or, get tired defensively, where our guys can kind of stay with it.
I mentioned the run, and I know you're worried about now, but that was an amazing run. We talked about Paul Mills and Oral Roberts and the run they had as well, and you're talking about sustainability, consistency, and building it right. How much did that mean to the program?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. And it's huge for a lot of reasons. Everybody knows the publicity reasons. We've got a great institution. I love the University of North Texas. It's a great location, a great education, and a lot of great alumni. But basketball has been good and athletics has been good, but we're trying to make it a culture of sustained success, much of what Baylor's doing, and that's the fun part, is you got the blueprint, you got the playbook, and obviously we're significantly farther behind in a lot of areas, but that it's possible, and it's meant a lot, to I think our institution and definitely to our athletic department.
Last year got knocked out Villanova, of course, eventually, who played Baylor the very next round in the at Butler. What's the name of the Butler Fieldhouse? And what was an unbelievable game in Indianapolis. Craig?
Coach, just what has the process of learning been like? I mean, each year when you go into a season, as a coach, I guess you never feel fully polished. You're always looking to learn more. But what was kind of the learning effort for you this offseason and heading into this year?
Well, the one good thing we've done in the last couple of years is we've learned, what we need to do to win our league. We won the conference championship regular season 2 years ago, had a chance to win it at home and ended up losing 2 games, but then we won the tournament and went on that run. It's just like, what do you have to do to win conference championships? But we want to play deep into March. So what gives us the best chance when we go in the NCAA tournament? You're facing some really good teams. We get the opportunity to do that. How do you get the higher seed? How do you go in those games and win them? How do you get to a Final Four? I mean, honestly, it's just how do you push that and give yourself the best chance to win at the end of the season just as much as you would in your conference. So really it's learning, the efficiency part of the game. How do we put both offense and defense where they complement each other? And that's what this team's just committed to. And that's where our program, I think, has taken a big step. I mean, our offensive numbers aren't great. Our defense is top 20 in the country. We're actually number 1 in points allowed in the country. And then our offense has really taken huge steps in conference play. We're the best offensive rebounding team in our league, the best 3-point shooting team, the best effective field goal percentage team in our league. So one thing we don't do is make free throws. We could do that because we get to the foul line more than anybody. We could be really good, but that shows you I'm not a very good free throw coach. Don't look at my percentage when I played at Baylor either.
Hey, look, Grant, I'll give you my proposal. This is what I say.
Right.
If your field goal percentage or free throw percentage is under 75%, any individual player, they shoot Rick Barry style until it gets over.
Hey, I think that's a brilliant idea, but you're not coaching one of these teams.
I know.
So I don't know what to tell you.
That's one of those things that, like somebody says, well, why can't the government do this thing? Well, there's an answer beneath it. Yeah, I know. Your team is so good defensively, though. Does that happen more because it's all about buy-in, and it's your style and what you coach. Do you have to kind of do maybe finding the guys in recruiting that are going to buy into defense before they even get there to make sure that your style is going to work?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, we just try to get people that love to win. because you can do it a lot of different ways. We just knew with this group, what we did is we returned 3 guys that played significant minutes on the roster last year, and a 4th that was an awesome potential at the forward spot in Abu Usman. So what we did is we returned our 2 best defenders on the team, and they were our 2 hardest workers, and they were our 2 toughest guys. So honestly, we did this year a little more significant toward the defensive end. In the 2 previous years, we actually had the best offense in our league back-to-back years, and our defense was always good, but it wasn't this good. So every team kind of takes on its own identity. I'll tell you what we look for. We look for winners, guys that want to win more than they want stats. We look for guys that want to win. And I know that may come across as, I don't know, simplistic, but it's honestly, if we got 2 guys that we feel like are good fits, we're taking the guy that's won more and won championships consistently and had a huge part of it from a culture standpoint. And coaches will tell you that. You can figure that out pretty quickly. We just err on the side of getting winners because winners will do whatever it takes.
Has Scott called you and asked you for a couple of bodies for his team the next couple of weeks?
Oh, Scott doesn't want any of our bodies. He's got plenty over there. It's just a matter of getting them. I mean, who wouldn't want Jeremy Sochan playing the 5? I mean, he's that's where Scott's amazing. I mean, he had a team 4 years or 5 years ago where he was playing all, through a forward, and then his forward gets hurt, and then come to find out he's got the National Player of the Year playing the point and didn't even know he was that good. I mean, come on. He's got guys over there. They'll be fine. He knows what he's doing. Coach Drew's the absolute best. There's nobody better when it comes to tournament time at getting a team to believe. Obviously Coach Tang, Coach Jacobs, Coach Brooks, and Jay New over there. Those guys they're dialed in to winning. They just got to figure out the what to do in 2 weeks, because that's when it matters.
I just realized one of your assistant coaches, Ross Hodge, wasn't he at Paris at one point, junior college at Paris?
Yeah, Ross Hodge is – I know everybody's talking about Mark Adams right now. Okay, so Mark coached at Howard. Ross coached against him. Ross took a team to the national championship the year after at Midland after I left, actually took over, but he was at Paris. And he's got the best win percentage in junior college of Mark Adams, of anybody. Literally, he won 90% of his games. Him at Paris, he won 80%. Took both teams to the national tournament. Everybody wants. I honestly believe he's the best basketball coach nobody's talking about right now in the country.
Well, that's.
I mean, everybody knows how good Mark is now. I'm dead serious. Mark and Ross used to go head to head in our league, and Ross would win. Just telling you, he's unbelievable. He does our defense, and that's the reason why we're top 20. He's amazing.
If I remember when I did junior college games for Tyler for many, many years, and that's an incredible conference at Region 14. But yeah, I mean, they were like fire ants, kind of like with what you see right now with what Mark Adams has done and what he's doing now. Are you surprised at all that Mark's kind of like not even missed a beat at Texas Tech after Beard left for Austin?
No, because that defense that they were running was all Mark's, and that was their identity, and that's what made them great. And, I had to coach against Mark when I first got a head coaching job at 27 at Midland. My first 5 years, I think they beat us 4 times in a row. I was 27. I was just out there trying to figure it out. I think Mark was close to 50, and he'd already had the experience and was just waxing me up and down the court. We were smashing us. And then we ended up, maybe winning 5 of the last 7 games we were there at Midland. But no, I've had to unfortunately coach against him, and it's about as painful as it gets because his teams are so tough. I told Coach this year, I think, Coach, I know everybody's talking about all the things and all this. I'm just telling you, one of the worst experiences of my life was coaching against the Mark Adams team. I think we had 14 points one time at the half. I mean, it's just miserable.
They don't stop. I mean, there's not. And if he has 11 guys he thinks are going to go out there and get after you like a swarm of bees, they're going to do it.
Yeah,
they just do not stop.
Yeah, he's got good ball pressure and unbelievable rotation, and he sacrifices, and he makes the game so choppy by the way he subs. He's just got a formula, and he knows how to win. It's definitely geared toward the defensive side, and he gets guys to play together. He's a great coach.
Grant, you have a great run going. You have a 39, I think, in Ken Palm. You guys are on this roll in the Conference USA. How many teams in your conference do you think might get in? And how much can you try to describe how how men's basketball runs the national tournament and college football can't seem to understand really what to do right? You hear about this expansion, they can't get anything right. What does it mean to give you and your conference a chance among even like the Southland or whoever else or the other smaller conferences, and yours is not small, a chance to be able to win a championship?
Yeah, that's a great question. One, it's going to be difficult for our league to get 2 teams in at this point. I do think there's a chance there. You got to win just about every game and put yourself in position at the very end. So don't know, honestly. The only thing we all know is what it was in junior college. You got to win your regional tournament, your conference tournament, regional tournament to make it. So we know we got one goal. That's to be our best when we get to the conference tournament, other than winning the regular season. But to your point, that's what makes it beautiful, is everybody's got an opportunity to win it. And, it's with conference representation of getting a team into a tournament, anybody's got the opportunity to upset somebody or have the opportunity to play for a national championship, which, I know this, you can't do that in football. And that's what it makes it difficult even for our league. I mean, it's virtually impossible even for our league almost to have a national champion in football. It's proven that over the years. So, that's what I think people love about the NCAA tournament. And I'm not smart enough to figure anything else other than how do we beat Southern Miss on Thursday at this point. But it sure does make it fun to be able to coach a team and give them the ultimate end goal other than, your conference, to be able to play on the national stage. It really is awesome.
I know you got to go, and the weather up there is not good, so you need to get home or whatever else you're getting ready to go do. But the Conference USA, of course, it's in flux. There are changes constantly. How do you keep up with all that? You just worry about you and let the ADs and all that do all the other stuff?
Well, just like Mac is an unbelievable AD at Baylor, we've got Ren Baker here, and Jared Mosley's here with us also, and we just trust those guys. They're unbelievable. I mean, Ren's as good as it gets, and we're on our way to the American here. At this point, looks like a couple years away when all the other transitions happen, and ultimately, you that's why you come to a place like North Texas where you trust the administration and have a lot of, faith in them that they just make the best decisions. And then what they do is they give us the resources to put our team out there to give them a reason to have an opportunity to move if it's beneficial for our university. So that's what we try to do, is win as many games as we can. So that's more opportunity for them to put our university in the best position. I think that's all you can do as a coach. I mean, you try to get outside of that, and I think we're all wasting our time. So we love our guys. We try to love them well. We try to represent the university as best we can and put our team in the best chance to win games. And this team is actually, is definitely committed to that. We've been able to do it so far this year.
It's been almost a Baylor Waco North with what you mentioned. Ren Baker worked for Mac Rhodes. Obviously, Mosley was here. Jared was here at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. Phil Bennett. I mean, it's unbelievable. Randy Clements now as well, among others. Jim Gush. Grant, thanks for your time. We appreciate you. Good luck going on forward, and good luck against Southern Miss.
It's a blessing. Good to catch up with you guys.
North Texas basketball coach Grant McCaslin played at Baylor, won a national title at Midland. How about the notes he made about Ross Hodge, his assistant coach, who I got to know when he was at Paris, and then more notes about Texas Tech head coach and the architect there in Mark Adams. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports, ESPN, Seth Greenberg, just around the corner. Much more to come. Sikkim 365 Radio and our YouTube 365 Sports continues in a moment. Ideal MRI, idealmri.com, located in the Central Texas marketplace, and Their state-of-the-art technology MRI machine, I have been inside of it, I think at least 3 times. It is as good as it gets. Dr. Rob Maxey and his staff have put together an amazing place for you to find out what hurts your body, what is a muscle or a ligament or maybe something else that a doctor says they need to have a deeper look, a clearer look, and a view of what is hurting you or bothering you. Or maybe you don't know, and that MRI can help the doctor and you find out. $497 or less every single time. MRIs can be expensive, sometimes really expensive. The average is around $1,100. At idealmri.com, it's $497 or less every single time. And they'll help you as well with what you need to do is filing some insurance as well. So call them up, go online, get the number, or go by the location of the Central Texas Marketplace. And what I loved about my visits there, they set up the time. One time it was in the evening, is I set up an MRI, the appointment. I get there. It did not take long to check in. It did not take long to get back to get in the MRI because the Texan specialists are very good at what they do. At idealmri.com.
This is your 54th District Judge, Susan Kelly. Appointed to the court by Governor Greg Abbott, I've worked hard to manage and move the docket, even during COVID. Board certified in criminal law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization and past president of the Waco Bar Association, you can be sure I apply the rule of law and deliver justice for all. Early voting starts February 14th, so be my Valentine and vote for justice. Keep Judge Kelly.
Political ad paid for by Susan Kelly from McLennan County Judge Campaign.
Truck Month started early at Allen Samuels. You could get a 2022 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Lone Star with total values up to $7,500 or as little as 0% for 72 months. This month, first responders get an extra $500. Come see why Ram continues to win awards year after year. Take home power, performance, and reliability, and shop the huge new car and truck inventory in stock today at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brad, what makes you different than anyone else, in your opinion, as far as what Boozer's does?
The fact that I own the jewelry store, anything I need to do, will do, or can do, I can do it. The buck stops with me, whereas a lot of places you have to go up the corporate command and corporate channel. Well, if you come in and want to make a deal, we sit there and we make the deal.
And you can find whatever someone's looking for, correct?
Anything is obtainable. I don't care what brand it is, what size it is, how much it costs, large or small. Anything is obtainable, and we can definitely get that in for you to see, look at, or buy.
Do you have the opportunity, if people have to pay things off, as far as a layaway program? What about what you have with financing?
Absolutely. We have 12-month no interest financing. We have layaway. If you want to pay with Bitcoin, I can take Bitcoin now. So if there's any way you want to pay for it, we can find a way out to make it work.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Well, I was mentioning Ken Palm and UNT in the top 40 of that. Gonzaga right now, the number one ranked team, and he updates this every night as soon as games are over. And yes, there are others, whether it's Joe Lenardi and bracketology, Jerry Palm and bracketology, among others. Some are fans of those guys, as I mentioned on the show Monday. Some are not. Some in the premium section of Sikkim365.com feel like, in fact, they are the queens and kings of bracketology, and they make great points and good arguments against those who do that as well. Gonzaga, Kentucky, Arizona, Baylor at number 4 right now in the Ken Palm ratings. Kansas and Texas Tech, Houston. Think about that. Baylor, Kansas, and Texas Tech, and you could argue over the order as much as you want. These are all just numbers being crunched at 4, 5, 6. Houston at 7. Auburn at 8, and then Duke and UCLA at numbers 9 and 10. Texas is 14. They have a pretty high Ken Palm. They struggled there for a while with quadrant 1 wins, and really they've been able to kind of bounce back, even though they haven't compiled a lot of them. But they got the win against Kansas, and of course that was huge, although one game is not going to hurt you one way or the other. A couple more teams. We mentioned UConn 17. Arkansas has been red hot. They're at 19. Alabama, who beat Baylor, is at number 20. So those are the teams that Ken Palm 1 through 20 through last night's games, or at least most of the games that we've touched on, in fact, today. Back to the chat room today. Mike Cole, just wanted to throw that. Looking at the 365 guys, somebody got a fresh haircut and a beard trim, looking good. To Paul, yeah, he was ragged. We almost didn't bring him in today, but he went and got that. Joey Foster, thanks 365 Sports. I will go back and watch you guys in the replay. He was asking about the UConn reporter, and it is up. We had him on Dave Borges at 345. Timothy Vernier. Would you like the committee to put a bunch of Texas teams in the same regional bracket? No, I don't think that's good. I think you try to separate them, even though for those teams would love to be closer to home if, in fact, that is the possibility as well.
Yeah, I think that kind of limits their it kind of limits the opportunities. If you stick them, opportunities for Texas teams to go in and perhaps make a run. If you stick them all together, you're kind of, self-eliminating. So, no, yep. I wouldn't want to see them all together, because that means only one's going to come out of that fray, whereas if they're spread out a little bit, maybe you can get a couple of teams that make deep runs like Houston and Baylor last year. But, that's where I come from on that.
Ray Grange in Belize, or Bert. Smokey, you talked me into it. A San Cristobal revelation from Nicaragua and a Don Amario rum. Boy, don't you almost want to just punch him through YouTube? He's in Belize, just chilling.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. You earned it. You worked a long time, and hope you enjoy the surroundings as well. We'll have Seth Greenberg here momentarily. Let's see here. From Timothy, Iowa fan, remember the runs of Valpo, Butler, Loyola, Chicago, Maryland, Baltimore County as well, when they beat number 1 Virginia as well. So appreciate them.
Okay, we're going to call Seth in 5 minutes.
Okay,
he's going through a dead cell area. So
that's fine. We got room. No one's on until John Machota at 5:30 as well. Mike Cole just said Kentucky Wildcats. He's our Kentucky YouTube listener and viewer as well.
By the way, the fresh cut, the beard trim, champion Salon and Barber. Make your appointment today, championsalonandbarber.com.
I was going to, yesterday during the top 5, and I just thought maybe I should stop.
Well, it was just, I wanted to go on Saturday. The people I usually, both of them were full. So
because you promote them.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so I just waited till today.
There's a tweet. I gotta read this. Remember yesterday we were discussing Monday and Tuesday the Phil Mickelson, Saudi Arabia, the World Tour, Greg Norman, all that stuff. From Jason Sobel. I'm not gonna lie. He's a golf. He writes for golf, covers the hell out of golf. It's kind of exciting that the demure world of professional golf has turned into Ozark, with everyone exploring illicit business proposals together, while simultaneously pointing their guns at each other.
That's what it is. A great article today in The Athletic about Phil Mickelson and how he completely misread
the room.
Yeah, and his own popularity. You know, I think sometimes you get so big you think you're untouchable, and you do things. I mean, ask LeBron James. You know, I mean, like you should have watched the LeBron James, I'm not going to say anything about China playbook to maybe don't go down this road, and then at least LeBron's a little bit more accountable for it than Phil was. And I'm not trying to bail LeBron out, but Phil, you know, kind of blamed everybody else but himself for the situation he's in.
I will always go back to the text that I received from a current PGA Tour veteran who nailed it. Quote almost perfectly his text to me of what Phil would do, what he was trying to do, what he thought he could do, and what he would say. I'm like somebody, I think Brandel Chambly yesterday said he was trying to be a martyr. And damage control. Now, the question is, it'll be interesting. Remember when Michael Jordan went and played baseball? And there were some that thought that was just his dream, which it was. And number two, was it also the NBA saying, you have been involved with gambling. We need to suspend you, but you're Michael Jordan. Why don't you go live your dream? Remember there was some of that kind of smoke around him being out of the game. Then there is some of that with Phil Mickelson. There's thoughts that maybe he has been suspended by the PGA Tour, conduct unbecoming, and that is why he's taking time off. And they're allowing him to say it the way he's saying it.
I don't know. I doubt that. I
or
don't
is
know
he just right now just going to go hide in the cave?
Because what good would it do to hide the problem? Phil Mickelson, like some, you know, look, he did wrong. And then not only that, if you're the PGA, why are you protecting him? All he does is crap all over you.
But yes, the statement he released, which Craig, you went over again yesterday with Off the Radar, and we went through a little bit on Monday. Did he apologize to Saudi Arabia?
No.
He apologized to those guys.
To the ones who were running the league, right?
Yeah.
Did he ever apologize to the PGA Tour?
Not particularly, no.
But he apologized to the guys running the Saudi league.
Yeah, the investors.
Or the tour, yeah. So that was a little bit interesting in my opinion as well. So I don't know. Joey Foster, he's talking about you and your barber, Paul. Timothy, I'm in my small Iowa town. I walk to one chair barber shop. You know, the ones with the, what do you call that, red, white, and blue swirl? Or the red, the
barber pole?
Yeah, that thing there. Yeah. How does Phil Mickelson get back in now after apologizing? Did he apologize?
No. I mean, he kind of shifted.
No, he kind of made himself the victim is what he did. Yeah. I mean, that's what he did. I'm sorry that you took my words the wrong way, that I said we're off the record, even though the reporter made it very clear that it was an on-the-record conversation. Phil lied. His fans will probably believe that it was off the record. I don't care. I don't care about the disagreement as far as that goes. The reporter said it was on the record. Phil, based on his history, I think he is probably fibbing and talking out of both sides of his mouth. And it didn't go the way that he wanted to. And now he's having to play damage control. And that's what you're seeing. And so the whole and I need to take a break all of a sudden. That's not just, what funny timing that all of a sudden he feels the need to step away. We know why he's stepping away. He said something incredibly stupid, and, genocide and killing gays and all that. But we really want to stick, that was what he did. He just brushed off, this regime to stick it to the PGA Tour. Like he's some great hero or something. He looked like an idiot for what his comments were, and it's not like, hey, cancel culture him or whatever. I don't care that much about it, but he tried to backtrack and backpedal. Everybody who's got half a brain that works or isn't blinded by fandom knows exactly what he said and how he said it and why it was not a great thing to say, and he's having to deal with that. And so now, he's got some of the backlash, and he's going to go take his ball and go hide away for a little while until it calms down, and then he'll be back, and he'll be all shucks Phil again, and and that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree, and he missed. I was watching some of the. I was not able to listen to the Golf Channel earlier this morning, but I was able to watch as they have the transcription going across the whatever you call that. And, everybody across the board is saying the same thing about what you said, what we have said and a little bit of that in between as well. We are now joined, game day coming to Waco on Saturday for Saturday night's game between Kansas and Baylor. And one of our favorites, we appreciate him every time he has time to join us, from ESPN, college basketball analyst, former coach Seth Greenberg on Sikkim 365 Radio. Hey, Seth, what is it like, those atmospheres? You've been around to plenty of them. Just the excitement of what you see from campuses, no matter where you go for game day?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I experienced it as a coach at Virginia Tech when we hosted game day, and obviously I've experienced it all over America. And you know what it is it's a testament to the teams that we travel to. There's only 8 game days. And you know what? That means 8 different schools get an opportunity to have us come and do our show live. And that means that team is having a special season and has a great following and a great ownership and a great passion and a great energy that surrounds their program. So last time we went to Waco, it was absolutely a blast. Obviously, the show was right before tip-off. This time a little different. The show's in the morning. Tip-off's at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock your time, I guess. But it's special. And, you know, it's such a fun experience because of the energy in the building and the ownership and the passion of the fans. And we've had some great ones. Last week was good, not great. Auburn was terrific. Kansas has always been, you know, a blast. They're always fun, but we're really excited to get to Waco. And it's not just the chocolate cake.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah. Seth, you've seen this Baylor team now have to reinvent itself with the season-ending loss for Jonathan Chamwa-Chachua. What do you think of the games they've played since then and how they're having to play more small ball?
Yeah, they're adjusting. You know, to me, I say it's a very similar adjustment than obviously Scott made when you know, Clark went out a couple years back, and they had to adjust. And you know, he's really good at seeing what they have to do. You know, Jeremy Sohan go to 5 now. Actually, I'm going to do a tape on that with Scott in the show. And now you've got a 6'8" player that has ball skills, can really pass, and has a feel. And you play more 5 out, opening up the floor. You can switch more defensively. You know, in Oklahoma State game, Sohan made a couple of really good plays. One backdoor pass, one drag 2 ball screen, threw back to Kendall Brown. One ISO at the middle of the floor where he just made a play, and you know, 4 guys are outside the 3-point line, so there's space. So it's a work in progress. They're still figuring it out, but you know, it's another floor gamer on the court. And when you get another floor gamer on the court, it gives you more versatility offensively for sure.
What do you think about James Akinjo and what he's brought to this Baylor team? I mean, there's been times when he's struggled. Sure, in that game, their last game, he struggled mightily until the very end. Hits a big bucket. Just what have you seen from his development this season, and how important he is to what they do?
When he's good, they're good. I mean, it's just plain and simple. I mean, maturity, toughness, leadership. A guy that is finding a balance between being that scorer he was at Arizona, and finding a balance between that and making plays and being inclusive. I think he's did a really good job. He's bought into what you have to do defensively to play at Baylor, and I've been really impressed with him. You know, every game hasn't been a masterpiece, but a lot of pressure on those guys. With all those injuries and all those different lineups, it's a lot of pressure on a point guard.
Seth, you mentioned Tristan Clark when he went out, and Baylor reinvented themselves with the guards and Butler, and eventually what they became with Davion and Maceo. And how hard is that to do?
It's hard, but if you have good guards, it's easier. And I mean, obviously, if LJ can get healthy, and if Adam had a big game the other day, and you get Kinjo healthy, and Matt starts to understand that he's got a new role, and he's moved up on the scouting report, which puts a lot of pressure on him. It's doable. It's just that it does take time, and everyone's role changes. The system changes. Maybe a little more pressure, maybe more extending your defense. But they still have time to adjust. And it's kind of interesting in a way because you can play 2 distinct styles. You can play that small lineup, and then obviously with flow in the game, you can play your normal lineup. So you're actually being more difficult to prepare for because you're coming at your opponent with 2 different game plans.
What have you seen from Kansas the last couple of weeks? Of course, last night they drilled Kansas State pretty good. I know they've had a couple of tight ones down the stretch, but it looks like they're finding their sea legs as they get close to March.
They're getting better. David McCormick's been better the last 5 or 6 games. Jalen Wilson has been very, very good, averaging about 14 and 10 his last 5 or 6 games. I've really been impressed with Dwan Harris, just his toughness and his ability to defend, and he's actually gotten more aggressive offensively. You know, they get Remy Martin back, then they go another level because Martin is a terrific passer and has really good vision. So they're good. They're good. They'll play a lot of small ball as well. I mean, they're going to play 4 out a good majority of the game, a lot of dribble handoffs, a lot of shallow cuts and double gaps, a lot of, dribble handoffs to pin downs to dribble handoffs to high ball screens for Ochai. I mean, so the game will be a fun game because this game's going to go up and down.
Seth, Texas Tech, did you expect Mark Adams to just not really miss a beat once Chris Beard left?
I knew he could coach. I spent enough time with Coach. I used to visit those guys once a year, and the players absolutely love him. They play their tails off for him. He went and got what I call Texas Tech type guys with chip on their shoulders, guys that have a point to prove, guys that play really, really hard. You never coach an effort, and he can really coach. The dude's coached at every level. I mean, he can really coach.
You have coached over your career as well. Then you got into the television part of it with College Game Day, ESPN as an analyst in the studio, and also, again, coming Saturday. How much did that help you going from coaching, even though that's in your blood, always will be, to being able to be so close to the game with what you do now?
Well, I mean, that's the prism I look at the game through. I'm far from a journalist, I can tell you that much. And I'm far from a talking head or a guru, someone that never did it and just talks because they want to hear themselves. You know, I lived it for 33 years. So I just talk like I'm talking to my staff or my team or in a bar talking to my boys or, I mean, that's just the way it is. I get a kick out of it. Well, you don't like our team. Actually, it's no big thing. I mean, I am a coach's advocate because I understand how hard the job is, and I appreciate the guys that do it at the highest level and the demands that are on them. But the game tells a story, and I'm supposed to interpret that story and tell the truth, and that's what I do. And for example, Tom Izzo was one of my dearest friends. I had to say that watching this team yesterday was disgusting because they didn't compete the way Tom Izzo coach team competed. They didn't share the ball. They didn't defend. They didn't rebound. They didn't play in a manner that basically the standard of what is expected of a Michigan State player. Now, that wasn't easy for me to say. But because I have no agenda, I get a call from Tom this morning. He said, I heard what you said. You're exactly right. So, I always felt if you don't have an agenda and you tell the truth, and you speak from the heart, and from your past experiences, it's all you can do.
Did what the Big Ten, Michigan, and Wisconsin do following Sunday's drama and the post-game issue, did they get it right?
Yeah, they did. And I know people say, well, Greg grabbed him. You make contact with people in post-game handshake all the time. Here's I compare it to flagrant 1 and flagrant 2. And that's why Greg got a $10,000 spot. A flagrant 1 is unnecessary. Didn't have to do it. Flagrant 2 is unnecessary and excessive. A swing over the top, there's no choice. And you had to send a clear message because that's mirroring behavior. Now all of a sudden, 2 players from Michigan, 1 player from Wisconsin are being suspended because the behavior of the adult in the room. So I think they got it 100% correct.
You made a comment about last night's game, that UConn-Villanova game with Dan Hurley getting ejected. Did he get ejected for what he did or what he's done before?
Well, I think that, look, officials are human. They only take so much. And, you say you're going to go into the game with a clean slate, but it's human. I think a little bit of both. I mentor Danny. I talked to Danny actually today for about 45 minutes. I'm very close to him. He is a great coach. He's a great teacher. He's a masterful game planner. He's unbelievable in player development. But he's got a really good team. I mean, a really good team. He's got a team that can make a deep run. And you know what? He's got to understand that, like what he did, I used this example the other day. It's like what Billy Tubbs did when he walked up to the microphone and said, I don't care how bad these officials are, please don't throw anything on the floor. Well, when you got the first technical and all of a sudden you're waving your arms trying to incite the crowd, that's actually right in the rule book. So he made a bad decision. His team played their tails off. Kamani Friend did a great job of getting a good shot at the end of the game for Tyler Polley, and they win the game, which is great. And, what I told him is he needs to go and speak to the commissioner of officials in the league and say, you know what, I want a clean slate. Let's move forward. I hear you. I've got to be better, but I also should not be judged prior to a game starting. And that's what he should do, and that's what they should hear. And they should also start with a clean slate. Because you know what? Anything else but that is not being fair to his team.
Seth, final question. Who do you feel like is the National Player of the Year at this time?
Depends on the day of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It depends on the day of the week. Last night it was Keegan Murray. He looked like a man amongst boys. Day before, on Sunday, I thought it was Johnny Davis. Every single day, I almost think it's Oscar Sheboy, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy every day. There are nights I think it's Jaden Ivey. Right now, I'm probably leaning towards Oscar because what he's doing is absolutely sick.
Man, it's great to have you. I know I bothered the hell out of you asking you to come on with us, but we love having you on, Seth. We really do, and can't wait to see you in Waco. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Seth Greenberg with some Truth Serum, ESPN college basketball analyst. I love what he said. And sometimes in the media, and sometimes because of social media, you do have some who truly believe that we wake up in the middle of the night and say, who do I want to piss off today among the fan base? What team should I act like I hate even if I don't? Or what team should I make a comment because I want the fan base to lose their mind? And it's unfortunate. I know that not everybody agrees with his opinion. He surely don't agree with ours sometimes, and that's great. But I appreciate him. And let me tell you something. It's great to have him, LaFonso Ellis. Tomorrow, Jay Billis and Bob Bowlesby, among others, that will join us here on this show. You had Obaji as the player of the year. Has it changed your mind?
I think he's still a candidate for it. But he makes a great point about Oscar Sheboy. That guy's he's a monster. So, and Oscar Sheboy's transfer to Kentucky has made Kentucky again.
Yeah, they're really good. They are. They
haven't been for a little bit. They've been some version of Kentucky, but they are Kentucky again.
No question. All right, when we come back, 4:50. We got a little bit late, but we do appreciate Seth Greenberg. He was on his way. He's been in the studio doing a lot of work today for ESPN, coming to Waco with all the rest. Reese Davis, Holly Rowe, Dan Schulman, the ones I've mentioned, they'll all be here, and look forward to them being on the campus in Waco. 10 o'clock, I think, Central Time is when their college game day show will launch. The game is not until late Saturday evening at 7 o'clock Central. This is Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, used to be, and need to be. How? Go to pettyclinicalot.com. If you have any of these three symptoms, you are lethargic, your energy doesn't seem to be the same. Your sex drive is not what it used to be. It's really struggling. And then also the fact you don't sleep the way you used to. In fact, I'll say this. I had a man walk up to me. It was yesterday. He said, listen, I heard you discussing what Dr. Petty can do. He has a doctor. He went to his doctor, and he got his blood results through his doctor. But the Dr. Kent Petty, and pettyclinicalot.com, he mentioned it, made him think about it because he has just not felt right. His doctor ran blood tests. His testosterone level was around 200. It needs to be around 800 or so. And so guess what? He's in a program to increase his testosterone, and he said he feels better already after just a week or two. And so that's what can happen with you and how you can help yourself. If, in fact, you're in your upper 30s, 40s, maybe even older, and it doesn't just mean you have to be 50 or 60, if you have those symptoms, low testosterone can create that issue. Dr. Kent Petty can get you set up with your blood work, look at the results, and put you in a program if your testosterone levels are too low at pettyclinicalot.com.
You know what would make this moment better? Pizza. dough made from scratch, and an Italian family sauce recipe pizza. 3 fresh signature cheeses making a melty blanket of perfect pizza. Bob Mock has owned Marco's Pizza franchises since 2013 and has been delivering pizza since 2001 and is the proud owner of 4 locations in the Waco area, in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to be open in Robinson. Order at marcos.com to make any moment better. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injuries, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness continues to add more weapons to your getting or staying in shape arsenal with 8 brand new treadmills ready for you to run or walk a mile or 2 or 10. And with the explosion of interest in pickleball with instructors Joe Rosa and Jody Thurman with more courts available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with large flat screens stretched across the weight room with Wi-Fi available, their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports. Everywhere you look, there's energy, passion, and commitment. New touchless water fountains outside of each locker room, and all the locker rooms with showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts with a youth academy led by pro Britt Coleman. Fitness and tennis merchandise available and a tanning bed. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Payments for qualified buyers are 2.9% with $5,000 down cash or trade. TTN Electra, see dealer for details.
The New Year, New Ride sales event continues at Richard Carr. Find pre-owned deals like a 2015 GMC Acadia or a 2016 Honda Accord for $227 a month, or get a 2019 Ram Tradesman truck for $333 a month. Our vehicles go through a 172-point inspection. Get top dollar for your trade, and 100% approval is always the goal. Find your next car or truck today at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco, your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
I mentioned this to Paul, Craig, Jack. I don't know if Emery was listening or not, but today was a day of reality for me. I got a letter from the Social Security Administration, Paul.
Congratulations. Listen, you made it. You got old in the right amount of time before the program goes completely bankrupt. People in Craig and my generation, Jack, Emery, they're probably screwed. So you have at least gotten to reap some of the benefits of the money you've been paying into the system for your entire adult life.
I was surprised. I didn't know. I just haven't thought. I don't think of myself that age. But by God, I can't wait for that to kick in. I guess I made it to 62 years and 9 months. And so that starts to kick in. I don't know. I'm scared of it. Am I allowed to keep it? Is it taxed?
I mean,
I got to ask my guy, Paul
that's,
Hicks, and see if
I'm not worried about it because I'm not in my 60s for another 18 years.
Yeah, but
and I'm not at your age for another 20 years. And by that time, robots will be running things, and I probably won't have it. So I'm not,
Yeah, I just hope we get to that point. I mean, honestly, the way direction everything's going. I mean, I'm not going to predict what next week looks like, much less 20 years from now. Hell, I didn't even think I'd be around this long. So, I mean, I really didn't. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. How our generation, ends up when all is said and done. But not looking great, Bob. Not looking great.
No.
Well, I was surprised. I saw that. I'm like, oh, what? This can't be good. And it was something that kind of made me realize that I am of that age, and I did give back. That's the good news, that I was doing my due diligence to do as you should with paying your taxes.
Says you'll pay for those missiles we've got cursed right now. Great job.
I'm not. Listen,
since you're not old enough to collect it yet, you need to wait as long as you can to collect.
So does it build up if I push it back?
Yeah.
So if I don't take it now, it adds to, I don't lose it, right? You're saying they might even be available. I'm going to take whatever I can when I can.
Let me give you the best financial advice. Talk to a financial advisor who actually knows what they're doing, because
our
sports talk radio advice on Social Security with two guys who are 20, 30 years away from that, probably not your best move.
No, I'm thinking about how I can do an Ocean's 11 style heist.
Of my Social Security?
No, I mean, just in general. Okay. Like, can I get 10 of my buddies together and we can rob a casino with very little punishment?
From Paula, you are not old enough to collect Social Security yet. You need to wait as long as you can to collect. Okay, thank you, Paula. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Stephen, the Social Security gig ain't bad. The gig ain't bad. Thank you. And then Joe, you reap it. You earned it. You will not lose it, and the longer you wait, the more you will get. Not with these two gloom and doomers about it won't be around much longer.
I mean, no.
You're fine. You're already
fine.
Involved. We're talking
you're
about for us.
For us, I mean,
Oh, Timothy, we're blocking him. We all know your age of Social Security because you remember when the Nebraska Cornhuskers were great.
Oh, man. Yeah,
God,
that's
I can't. That's
sad but true.
You win. From Ray.
I technically do too, though, although I was, in middle school, I think at the tail end of that run, maybe just entering high school at the tail end of that run, unfortunately.
By the way, Ray is in if I want to do an Ocean's 11 style heist.
All right, so
he's in Belize, so he's got a place where he can hide out.
And he's a godfather, so he can get people. Michael, always the Social Security 2 years ahead of time, and then you can max out at 70 if you can wait that long. Okay. And there's a difference between 62 and a half or 62 and 9 months and 70. There's about $1,500 or so a month difference.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what you're going to be like at 70.
Joey, hardest adjustment I've ever made was learning to live on a fixed income.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that from those who even made good living and have things.
Just realize this. See, that's why I think you should maybe not wait until 70 and cash out now, because we don't want to have to deal with you.
All right. 70. So here is a state. Thank you, Paul. You want to break here and come back with the JUCO?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
I think we can do that. All right. So thanks to all the advice from a lot of you others who are old enough to understand what I got in the mail today. When we come, and I'll call Edward Jones and our great friends that are a part of this show and one of the great sponsors of this show from day one. When we come back, the National Junior College Athletic Association kind of was attacked yesterday by a national talk show host who is an elitist. I'll tell you that right now, based on his opinions about when a coach goes from Norman to L.A., that he actually now will get interviewed by real journalists or whatever else. And what he said about NJCAA, well, they fought back last night, and I will too. Next on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco. Ted Teague involved in so much from around the community, so much when it comes to what he has, what he does for this show, and what he's done for our Academic All-Stars team, that we will honor another one coming up in May with more information on that as we get closer to it. New car inventory has been added. Previous or pre-owned car inventory has been added to the lot, and that's a big deal because some wish they could do that. Truck Month has started. The championship celebration event continues. 2022 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Lone Star has total values of up to $7,500. As little as 0% for 72 months is another option as well. You can also, when it comes to President's Day, of course, was on Monday, but that event continues as well. The new 2022 Ram 1500 Lone Star, you're planning your newest adventure, they have availabilities for you right now to test drive that vehicle and see what you like. And remember, I did the Wagoneer Series 2. Fantastic vehicle. Right now, 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 in bonus cash. First responders get an extra $500 on top of that. The 2022 Wagoneer Series 2 and 3, 0% financing for 72 months and $1,500 of bonus cash. I've driven it, the Wagoneer Series 2 and 3. Man, I tell you what, they're gorgeous. It's spacious, drives like as nice an SUV as you could possibly imagine. Go test drive one and you'll agree. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. The championship drive continues. Loop 340, east of 84 in Waco.
This is your 54th District Judge, Susan Kelly. Appointed to the court by Governor Greg Abbott, I've worked hard to manage and move the docket, even during COVID. Board certified in criminal law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization and past president of the Waco Bar Association, you can be sure I apply the rule of law and deliver justice for all. Early voting starts February 14th, so be my Valentine and vote for justice. Keep Judge Kelly.
Political ad paid for by Susan Kelly from McLennan County Judge Campaign.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links, and you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
John Wachatua comes up empty, but Flagler picks it up.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Brad Wilson. Investing is time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
You know, if I didn't mention Emery Winter, you would never know he was in this building. He's as quiet as he possibly could be, unlike some others. Where's Faith been, Paul?
I mean, she's only coming in one day a week because she's got volleyball.
All right,
so.
she was here last week.
She'll be here more in the summer.
All right, and then, of course, she's a student athlete at Baylor. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And then Jack McKenzie runs the mothership. Armstrong is out today. We hope he's back tomorrow. And that picture you see outside all the traffic, that is part of our – how many cameras do we have? 12 to 15? Seems like 6 to 12.
36.
4?
Y'all were nowhere close. He said 4. 36, 2015, 4.
Well, that one, okay, that's just looking out the window of here at 101 Elm Avenue with some construction, and there's the Martin Luther King Memorial Bridge that's across the street, right? That's been worked on forever, and so that's going on as we, of course, do the show.
Yeah. One of those government questions I had that, like, you know, I told Grant McCaslin you can try underhand. My question is, why don't you just send everybody to one spot for construction, have them finish that before you move on to the next one?
No, they like to start every project while other projects are going on here right now. So, yeah, one starts, never gets finished. Another one starts next to it, doesn't get finished. Then another one starts next to that, and you end up with like 2 closed down bridges sitting right here. 2 bridges that are not operational that lead you to downtown. That makes so much sense.
And they had redone right here, right? They had refixed
this road's closed,
and this
bridge closed, bridge closed, road down to 1 lane. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And you'll know this, and Craig, you don't go this way much anymore, but if you come down Valley Mills, right there at the Cobb's, they've now started working on one of the lanes there.
Right by my house.
Right,
yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. So, all right, so this is let me set up the scene. Colin Cowherd is a national talk show host, a very, very popular guy, and very opinionated. And, he's always been probably one of the best I heard about setting up a topic and a discussion, argument one way or the other. But I have noticed that as he has gotten bigger, and he's huge, Fox Sports, he has kind of gotten this elitist attitude. I hope that's the right word, that if you don't work in L.A. or you're not on national radio, that you're basically just a punk or you're a peon. That's probably a better word. He took some shots at the NJCAA or national, took shots at junior college in general. I went to Tyler Junior College, and my story was when my father was brought back from Japan, we went to San Antonio. There was no internet. I didn't know where I was going to college. And I didn't have the best ACT score. Admit it. So I went to Tyler Junior College for 2 years, and it shaped my life. I loved that place. I covered junior college forever, and still in some cases we do. I think there's a huge reason why junior colleges exist. And sometimes it could be an academic issue. Sometimes it could be a comeback issue. And sometimes good damn people go to JUCOs who are smarter than hell and also affect lives. So here is the NJCAA responding to Colin Cowherd.
Well, what did he say?
He basically just said that it's just a bunch of thugs and stuff like that.
Okay.
So here's the NJCAA. The statement made by Colin Cowherd, degrading and also uneducated
The statements made by Colin Cowherd are degrading and uneducated. There is no level in sports that should be
tolerate.
Yeah, because there's so many wires in the way.
That should tolerate the behavior that Mr. Cowherd has been. That
was referring to his statements. Yeah, again, I can't see everywhere, so we're gonna have to pull this up.
I've got it. I got it here on an email. The statement made by Colin Cowherd are degrading and uneducated. There is no level in sports that should tolerate the behavior that Mr. Cowherd was referring to. His statement is further evidence of a negative, uninformed stigma in our society regarding junior college and two-year collegiate athletics and higher education. To portray that grown-ups acting like fools is normal behavior in the junior college basketball, and that only coaching in the Big Ten or Power 5 level is a big responsibility is false. Big responsibilities are not measured by the level that you coach, but rather the impact you make on young person's life to chase their aspirations, become better versions of themselves. That is what junior college coaches do each and every day. Now, he was talking about players, athletes, coaches. I'm a JUCO guy. I'm proud as hell of being a JUCO guy. I covered an incredible junior college conference for 30 years. And yes, there are players that get into junior colleges who are on the comeback trail, transfer around. Well, that happens at the Power 5 level, by the way. And I have seen some times in the junior college level that it gets a little bit out of control on occasion, coaches and players, like Michigan and Wisconsin on Sunday evening. And there is a stigma that junior college is a bunch of dumb idiots, athletes who can't get into colleges. There are reasons. My ACT score wasn't very good. Plus, I didn't know where I wanted to go. I lived in Japan the 4 years before graduating. And that pisses me off. And it's not just because I went to a junior college. It's because I know great people who have served young men and women, students and student athletes at the junior college level. And there are amazing junior college athletes, coaches, and campuses around this country.
Well, part of it is Colin Cowherd's shtick for a long time has been the only two places that matter are New York and Los Angeles. That's it. The only two places that matter are New York and LA. Everybody else is a bumpkin, or everybody else doesn't get it. You're really here. You really made it. Like his stuff about Lincoln Riley, he's going to get interviewed by real journalists. Oh, really? He's going to get interviewed by journalists in a pro sports town. Because that's what look, USC is a big deal, and it's never not going to be a big deal, but it's never going to be as big a deal as the Lakers. It's never going to be as big a deal as the Dodgers or the Rams or the Chargers, whatever it is. LA's a pro sports town. So him going there and getting that remark about he'll get really? The journalists in Norman are pretty much after you all the time. Ask Bob Stoops.
Dude, Eddie Radosevich is hiding in bushes and crap, getting airport footage.
That's the only thing he can do. So, but that's what they cover is Oklahoma football. So, again, the sports page in Norman, Oklahoma, and in Oklahoma City, which has an NBA team, will jump to the Sooners before anything else. So to pretend like that's different. And so it just trickles down into this. Junior college, blah, blah, blah. It's uninformed. Some of the best coaches in college basketball from junior college.
What did we just hear about Mark Adams and Ross Hodge and Grant McCaskill?
Buzz Williams.
Yes.
I mean, Dana Altman. They all coached in junior college, Yeah,
I really used to love listening to Cowherd when he was just an ESPN guy and he was like midday and just did his thing. And he had, the great ability to carry a show pretty much by himself, which not a lot of people can do. Most shows now are 2, 3, and shoot in Dallas, there's like 6 people on one show, it's kind of gotten crazy in some cases, but yeah, I mean, he's got a really great ability to do that. He does have a good way, at least when I used to listen to him years ago, of setting up his talking points, like you said, but I don't know, there was at some point in his career where he started to make like big money and started to get a lot of attention, and like his real personality came out, the West Coast elitist, I'm above you, my nose is so high in the air that I can't even see at your level. That side of him came out. I don't know if that was always there. And thinking back, he always kind of had a little bit of an arrogance to him, but he certainly is not an everyman. And he's not somebody that I think most people can relate to. So I have no surprise whatsoever to hear that he does not understand why JUCO basketball or JUCO sports wasn't deserving of the way that he ran them down. And he won't care, and he'll never respond to it again. He'll move on because in this case he was wrong. And I think the people that have responded to him have raised plenty of great points. But what do people like him do? When they're right, they ram it in your face over and over and over and over again and tell you how right they were. And when they're wrong, all of a sudden it just disappears. It just goes away, and you never hear about it again. It's weird how that happens. So they'll move on from that. He probably won't talk about it anymore. If he does, he'd probably be talking out both sides of his mouth. Colin's good at what he does, but he's not as good as he thinks he is. And I know I'm just some dude with like 10,000 Twitter followers to his 2-3 million or whatever it is. Some dude making tens of thousands versus, some dude making millions. But shoot, man, at least I can be able to relate to people. Your ass is so fucking, your ass is so stuck up LA, Hollywood, glitz and glamour and all of that you can't even see the real people out there. And I think instead of like poking down and punching down at them, you're just really showing your true colors and who you really are. A West Coast elitist who doesn't relate to the everyman. So I'm not surprised by his comments, and sorry for cursing there, but I mean, that's just, I hate elitism. I hate that snobbery, and it just seems like that's really grown with him more and more over the years. For some reason, I don't know if it's the money, if it's the attention or what, but I've definitely seen a change in the guy that I used to listen to on ESPN radio, and it's not a change that I've liked, and
he
that's why I don't listen.
He used to be fun.
Yeah.
He was as good as I've ever heard, and I mean this. All the years I've been in radio, 41, or in TV, whatever, media, about setting up a conversation. I was at times like, God, I wish I could set it up like that. He was good at it.
Around the Horn was a great segment where he would just go and get beat writers, those beat writers that he just, took a dump on. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't understand why you'd go from someone who was fun and insightful at the same time, and then all of a sudden, and part of it was maybe the advent of social media, where social media makes people feel way more important than they are.
No question.
I give you no better example than Alyssa Milano, who is an actress, that was on Who's the Boss and Charmed in Melrose Place, that she was tweeting about Brett Kavanaugh so much that she's like, I'm going to go to the hearing. Great, Alyssa Milano's there. It'll all get worked out. Yeah. I mean, what do you mean? And I think he's got a little bit of that where, like, he started to just believe, like, oh, I'm important. People need to hear what I have to say. And so he has these crazy takes like Baker Mayfield will never be successful because he wears his hat backwards.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Here are some responses that we have from 512. Colin Cowherd started his career in Eastern Washington, of all places, and then Portland, and then higher. And I know his story because he's talked about it. And I'm telling you, I enjoyed listening to him. Can't believe he digs at the smaller areas considering. From Tony, the First Lady of the United States is a brilliant professor at an outstanding junior college and has been for decades.
I really don't understand why there is that stigma too. Like I think like most of it comes from like football recruiting, I guess. Of where you do have the guys who get in trouble and then they go JUCO and then you hear about them later on. And so I understand it to an extent, but like this idea that that's all JUCO is, I just think like there's thousands of responses that prove otherwise. And Colin Cowherd will probably not read a single one of those because he's so above it all. But, I mean, if he actually took the time to check out of whatever fake reality he's living in where he's so self-important and actually listen to, real people, then maybe he could see that. But, no, he's too smug for that. He's too smug and too stubborn to be able to understand. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed him years ago. Haven't kept up so much once he kind of turned personality-wise, in my opinion. So no surprise he made those comments. But there's a lot more going for JUCO ball than it's probably given credit. That's certainly than it's given credit for. And I'm glad a lot of people had the kind of extreme response that they had and were sticking to their guns. I'm sure he's talked. I don't know. I'm sure I know he talks a lot of NBA. Has he talked about Jimmy Butler at all? Does he talk about Jimmy Butler ever? Jimmy Butler's a JUCO guy.
I covered
we could go through a bunch more JUCO guys in the NBA.
Cam Newton's a JUCO guy.
Cam Newton's a JUCO guy.
Warren Moon, Frank Gifford, Larry Allen, Walter Jones,
Thugs,
Roger Staubach,
Thugs,
Aaron Rodgers,
Thugs. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Oh,
dude.
he loves Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear him. I'm sure he'll backpedal on that part of it. Well, Aaron Rodgers, he had to go. I'm sure there would be some little backpedal there. But
Josh Heupel.
But yeah, like it's just we probably spent more time than need. So he threw out his hot sports opinion that wasn't really that great of an opinion based on the feedback. And again, he'll probably never react to it and being wrong about it. But the people that know, and they know that he was wrong in this case.
Cam Newton has some issues and has had some issues.
That's why
with
he had to go
junior
JUCO.
college.
So yeah, there's example.
Michael Bishop at Kansas State. Levante David won a Super Bowl, Craig, and Paul Wright at Tampa Bay. Went to a junior college, Fort Scott. Mike Rozier, Keyshawn Johnson. Let's see. There's just a few others. O.J. Simpson.
There's plenty.
Corey Dillon, Bryant McKinney. There are some others. There's plenty of them. I don't have to argue about it. I just wanted to let you know, one of my favorite people ever that I ever covered and got to know in my lifetime was Floyd Wagstaff, the longtime head football coach and basketball coach at Tyler Junior College, one of the greatest personalities. Craig got to know him as well. Funniest man I've ever known, maybe. And he was in the Hall of Fame. And he's the one that said something to me when I visited, not knowing anything about Tyler Junior College, that said, I'm going to go here. And I'm so glad that I did.
And here's the other thing that, I saw plenty of people point out. You will not find a group of coaches and administrators that are more passionate about doing things for their student athletes and about giving them opportunities than in junior college. They don't have the resources to work with. They don't have huge endowments. They don't have multiple scholarships to give away. They work the best they can with what they can to give a platform to athletes to continue their careers and also continue their classwork and hopefully get degrees and hopefully give them a launching pad to where they can go from Tyler Junior College to Auburn to win titles, so then Colin Cowherd can slobber all over them, and when they become successful, be their best friend and get the rub. I mean, and that, but there is nobody more dedicated than JUCO folks with what they have to deal with and the little amount that they have at their disposal compared to the big universities.
You got dorms? No.
You don't do it.
Do
you do it for fame? No. Do you do it for attention? No. Do you do it for money? All the things that Colin Cowherd does his job for. No wonder he doesn't relate to it, because it's actually human and genuine, and it's for the betterment of other people, not the betterment of your social media profile or your ratings or whatever. So, of course, he doesn't get it.
All right, from Joe Smokey, TJC alum myself, class of 82. I am an old guy. We are, both of them. Also from Ray, it took Colin to get Craig to slip. I love it. Laugh out loud. Joe, tell it like it is. He's a total prick.
Again, he's good at what he does. I mean, he's clearly good at what he does to be in the position that he's in. But and I don't hate the guy or nothing like that. But I do think he's way off base on this one. But he'll never realize it, I'm sure.
Daniel, love it when Craig speaks from the heart. No need to apologize. From Tim, I don't listen anymore to him. He's always been that way, a scumbag. Glad Craig let it out. I can't take the frigging word anymore. Just say it. We all know what you mean. And he was talking about just blowing it out. Mike, 14 years ago, he made a big comment about Starbucks going up on their coffee to $5 and would eliminate low-life people from standing in line with him.
Hey, look, if you've been to any kind of Starbucks, believe me, it didn't stop anybody.
Ray, time to reset the accident sign for Friday. It's been one day since the last F word.
Yeah.
Stephen, 2 points on JUCO, less debt for first 2 years of an education. JUCO offers great job opportunities in the trades, which are much needed. And that's exactly right. Junior colleges are for the communities. They are. Well said, Craig. And then Craig got it right from a Facebook from Gary, Football Bob, who was on us on the chat room as well. Thank you for all the feedback. I didn't know if you'd agree with me or not. It is a stigma. There is a reputation. I've seen it. I've seen some bad moments. And then I watched Michigan and Wisconsin as well. I saw LeGarrette Blunt, who, by the way, was a junior college guy, with what he did at Oregon. We've seen a lot of things happen that were Division I and FCS or whatever. It's just kind of going to happen if you have enough people involved in a business or a team or any kind of association.
Yep.
All right. When we come back, John Machota, theathletic.com, he will help us with, kind of what's going on. Are the Franchise tags going out, Paul. We can talk to John about that.
I mean, they're going to be. Yeah. They had until March the 6th, right?
Yeah. All right, we'll do that. Coming up next, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Waco Custom Marketplace. I don't even have to look at what I have as far as some copy points, because here's what I'm going to tell you. Full-fledged bakery and butcher shop. Open Monday through Saturday. So they're open on Saturday if you can't get by there before 6 o'clock tonight or anytime. But in fact, if you love live crawfish, it's Wednesday, it's 5/27. You can call them up until 6 o'clock tonight before they close. Order a 30-pound sack, a bag of live crawfish for $4.35. And the price can change based on the week. $4.35, a 30-pound, for $4.35 a pound, a 30-pound sack of live crawfish. Call in before 6 tonight. Pick it up anytime after Friday at 4 or throughout the day on Saturday, and enjoy the delicious live crawfish from Waco Custom Marketplace. Order your steaks and beef and seafood, pork and poultry. Order your sweets and whatever they have at the bakery and bread. That's what you want, and that's where they are at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I've seen people walk in there. First of all, you have so much to show. Necklaces, bracelets, rings. You have the watches. You have numerous great watches as well. You really have pretty much everything, don't you, when it comes to jewelry?
That's correct. Kind of a one-stop shop and all. And the fact that we have the 2 jewelers on staff, the repairs we can do, the fixing of your jewelry, and the remaking of any jewelry has really set us apart from anybody else.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
There are 20 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John Machota of The Athletic, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Hey, 343 Foxton. We appreciate you now being a part of the chat room today, and a bunch of others who have joined us today. Thank you very much for your feedback. Tim Higgum, I think, might be new. I mentioned one of what he said earlier in the chat room. Of course, Ray joined us back at the end of last week. We appreciate you all. John Machota, theathletic.com, Sikkim 365 Radio with us on 365 Sports as well. All right, John, so you're Jerry, you're Steven, you're Will McClay, you're McCarthy, Quinn, whoever. What right now, if you say these are 3 things we've got to do over the next couple of months, obviously there's a draft, but kind of put it in order, the priority of what they're doing right now.
Well, at first they got to figure out what they're going to do with Amari Cooper and DeMarcus Lawrence. If they're keeping one or both, or letting either one go or both, that's the first move, because that's going to make, or that's going to determine what you're doing with your salary cap. So, and you know what? As of right now, they might have a really good idea of it. That might be something that they've already moved on from, and they're already looking at the next part of it. So, but I mean, I think that's. Either of those moves have to be right at the top of that list. Next would be however they can come across with fixing the offensive line. They obviously have to find something at left guard, because, Connor Williams is going to be a free agent. So, are you trying to bring him back? Are you going to put Connor McGovern over there? Are you going to move Lyle Collins to left guard and, make Terrence Steele a starter at right tackle? Or are you going to try and aim to fill that spot? Much like you did with Connor Williams, and get in the draft. That's also a possibility too. And I'd say the next one would probably have to be, I'm kind of looking at safety, just because of the fact that out of the 4 safeties they played this year, 3 of them are going to be free agents. And J-Ron Curtis on the radio down here, 105.3 The Fan earlier this week was talking about, how great it is to have Dan Quinn back. And he sounded like, he seemed pretty confident he would be back. That's a huge piece. They're able to keep J-Ron Curtis. He just, I think he surprised a lot of people this year on a 1-year deal. You're not going to be able to get him on a 1-year deal coming off the year he just had. But I would say those things all somewhere would probably be at the top of the list.
Did the Cowboys really, does it make it look worse that they squandered an opportunity to really make inroads and get deep in the playoffs, given the fact that if you looked at the roster before the year, you would know that they were going to have these problems, that Tank Lawrence and Amari Cooper were going to be salary cap decisions. And not only are they going to be salary cap decisions, if you do release one or both of them, there aren't answers on the roster, because you've got free agents at defensive end, at wide receiver, and then you go into positions like safety, linebacker. They don't have immediate answers on the roster should they have to let everybody walk.
Yeah, I wouldn't second guess the move. And the only reason why I say that is because this is the best roster they've had in the last decade. I know since the season's ended, people are, trying to determine why it happened, why they fall apart. And I've seen several people talk about, well, maybe the roster wasn't as talented as they thought it was. No, it was a talented roster. And in being in a situation they are right now, let's say that they're the Rams or the Bengals, or maybe even if they just made it to the NFC Championship game and lost, there wouldn't be any talk about getting rid of DeMarcus Lawrence and Amari Cooper. They'd run it back with all of them. They can bring all those guys back. They just have to. What they have to do is they have to restructure a bunch of deals. But when you play the way that they did, and you're that far away that they were, why are you going to restructure any of these deals? Obviously, you didn't have a roster that was good enough, so you got to make these changes. But no, they're certainly in a spot where if they want to bring back all these guys, they can bring them all back. It involves restructuring. That means, like, down the road, they're going to end up paying more on some of these guys. But yeah, I mean, believe me, if they were coming off a deep playoff run where DeMarcus Lawrence, had, 2 sacks in one game, a couple more pressures in another, and was like this major part of them getting to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, nobody would even be thinking of doing anything to his contract or letting him go. Amari Cooper, it's in that San Francisco game. Let's say they win because Amari Cooper had 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then in the next round he has a big game too. No one's talking about letting him go and releasing him, but because you finished the year the way that you did, then you have to make these decisions because maybe you weren't set up the way you thought it was, and you can connect it with the Rams. I mean, it's the same thing that they're going through. It's like, talking about Aaron Donald and, having to go and get Odell Beckham to come back and some of these other pieces there. Like, yeah, you're willing to do a lot of that stuff and you can pay down the road because you just won a Super Bowl and you're trying to run it back and win another one. But when you lost in the first round and looked as bad as they did, that's why you have to make some of these tough decisions because you're like, well, maybe we weren't as close as we originally thought we were.
So, John, I know that the draft's going to be combed over from every single angle over the next couple months, and people are really starting to dive in at this point. Based on what you know, the talent level in this draft and the Cowboys' needs, how do those match up together? Like, for what they're looking for, is there plenty of opportunity in this draft class to go and do and get done what they want to get done?
It certainly sounds like it, and today is a great day to be talking about this for me because yesterday I had a long conversation with Dane Brugler, who was our draft analyst expert for The Athletic, and Dane is as good as anybody when it comes to the draft. He does it all year round, and I talked to him yesterday for about a half hour, and I just have a piece up on The Athletic right now on a lot of those things, and then after talking to him, I mean, one of the biggest things he mentioned was that edge rusher is real deep in this class, not just at the top, but well throughout the second, third, and even into the fourth round. And that's huge for the Cowboys because even if, Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence are keeping those guys, those guys they're both, going to be 30 during the season. DeMarcus turns 30 in April, and then Randy, I believe, is in November. So it's like you still need to get younger at edge rusher, whether you're bringing them both back, only one, whatever. And so that's huge for them there. They could potentially get an edge rusher that maybe, some teams would take at 15. Maybe that player falls to them at 24. So that was big. Another thing he was mentioning was linebacker. That there's a lot of depth there where you don't necessarily need to use a first-round pick to get a quality linebacker. You can do it in the second, third round. And certainly the Cowboys have needs at linebacker. I mean, they're good with Micah Parsons. I think Jabril Cox is going to be a good player going forward, but there's really not a lot there after that. So that was a big one. And then the same thing with guard. Seems like there's some pretty good depth there in the first few rounds at guard as well. So, and every draft, I mean, there's receivers in this draft, but I don't know. I've seen them draft in the last 10 years that there hasn't been receivers. I mean, the way the college game's being played, you're going to have receivers. So it sounds like tight end's pretty thin, which it seems pretty likely Dalton Schultz is gone, so that's not great. But I think you can find another Dalton Schultz in this draft. Now, that means that probably not going to be Dalton Schultz was this past year in year one. It's going to take a little bit of time, but there are players to be found there. So it seems like there'll be some good opportunities for the Cowboys to fill the holes that they need to fill in this draft.
John, when do the Cowboys start having long-term discussions about the future of Ezekiel Elliott?
I'm sure they already have. I mean, if Zeke's contract was similar to Amari Cooper's or DeMarcus Lawrence's, I mean, he would be right in this discussion too. It just, you're not going to save any money. Like the dead money you're going to be paying on Zeke's contract if you were to release him is just too much. So, no, that's definitely in play. And even though there were times this year where he started looking like the old Zeke, you got to factor in injuries and just the age of running back where he's at. That those players generally don't get better as they get closer to 30. And so, if his contract was a little bit different, you could put his contract right in there. The discussions about Amari DeMarcus would be the exact same with him. And obviously they're hoping that he's going to be as healthy as he was before he had the knee injury this past year, and that you're going to be able to run it back with him and Tony Pollard, probably give more of a workload to Tony Pollard. But we also said last year that we thought they'd give more of a workload to Tony Pollard than what they did. So that remains to be seen. But yeah, no, there's certainly no way they can look at Ezekiel Elliott and his contract and think, no, we're good here. Well, he's going to be our running back for the next 5 years.
John, I know that it's not like a popular subject to talk about, but it was about a week ago that the whole Cowboys allegations came out. Don Van Natta Jr. had that story, and then there was the timing of Steven stepping away right before that story was public, and now we see the NFL is not going to investigate, and any talk about it has really sort of died down at this point. But did you get a sense of kind of maybe that was jarring to some within those offices? I mean, did you receive or feel any type of feedback from those that work at Cowboys headquarters when that came out?
Yeah, I haven't, since it's come out, gotten a great feel from, in terms of what you said, whether surprised or not. But I find it hard to believe that every single person was surprised. I mean, there are people that knew that this was out there. NDAs have been signed. There's just a lot of people in that organization that knew about that. I mean, I had heard rumblings of things of the such about this, about the cheerleaders and them signing NDAs, 2-3 years ago. But there was, weren't able to, get anything on record. And that's not something, this is the type of thing you're not going to talk about this unless you have something that actual proof. I mean, that I had never heard of about the other part, the draft war room cam, with the, upskirt picture thing like that. That was the first time I had ever heard of that one, with a fan, filing, signing an affidavit that they saw, that inappropriate behavior in the draft room. I'd never heard of that one, but now the other part of it, there were some rumblings, not all those details that Don Van Natta got. And that's the thing, like anybody that knows Don Van Natta's work, I mean, there's no reason to second guess and think that, this is all made up or anything. He's as good as you get in the business. So, any of that, it has to be a surprise to some, but I'm sure that there were some that were kind of surprised when they heard that Rich Dalrymple was stepping down, earlier this month. And, there's several pieces in play there. And obviously we haven't heard anything from Jerry or Steven about it, but, being at the Combine next week, they're certainly both going to be there. And they're going to be asked about it. I just don't know how much they're going to say because of the fact that there are, signed NDAs that no one's legally allowed to talk about this. But then two is the fact that Rich Dalrymple no longer works for the organization. I think it's a little bit different if he's still there in his role. Then there's a lot of like, what are you going to do about this? But because he stepped down, I think there's only so much that they're going to say. I don't think they're going to go very much in depth about it. But I mean, I'd heard some of it, but I'd never heard to the level that what came out. Let's put it that way.
The big question they're going to have to answer is, why was this a planned retirement, or did he step down because this report was coming out? And the other thing, John, and this, they didn't even mention, like, the website didn't do any kind of like Rich Dalrymple steps away, like. This is the guy. He's been there forever.
32 years.
Yeah.
He was the shadow, along with Roosevelt, of Jerry Jones.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question about that. I mean, the optics of it certainly line up with someone that heard that there were rumblings of something that happened, or something that was being investigated, and not even really just investigated, but the fact of to step down, probably even more so than like, this is coming out, whether you want to comment on it or not, we're publishing this story. And so, but with how much Rich Dalrymple was connected with Jerry Jones, with the Cowboys organization, it's hard for me to believe that he's just completely blindsided that this thing came out, because at some point in an investigation like that, you're going to have to hear from someone like, hey, Don Van Natta or somebody else from ESPN called me the other day and was asking about this and that. So, without Rich saying that that's the reason he stepped down, you can't 100% prove anything along those lines. But just the optics of it, 2 weeks before, you step away, and as you mentioned, there isn't anything mentioned on the team website or anything like sent out by the team, as an official announcement, which I think you would get if it was someone that had been there 10 years, much less, since Jerry, first purchased the team, and we've been there since the beginning, since they were winning Super Bowl.
John, I know it's about 2 weeks away, the deadline for the franchise tag. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They can start talking right now. I mean, if they want to do, any of those things, they can be in those discussions right now.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you mentioned it earlier or not. I apologize, but who do you think is the best candidate for that, or do they even use their franchise tag?
I don't think that they do. I think the best candidate would be Randy Gregory. Now, you're talking that's in the $20 million range for a edge rusher. I think something gets worked out with Randy Gregory. I think he wants to be here. They want him. I think that this isn't going to be where he goes to free agency looking for the top dollar. Like, I'll just play for any team. Whoever's going to pay me the most, I'm out. I don't get the sense of that from Randy. And I know that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys really like him a lot and would like to keep him around. So, but I would say that it to me, it's him or Dalton Schultz. And I just don't think that they're going to franchise tag a tight end. The edge rusher position is just so valuable that, if you sat there and thought that you weren't going to have Randy Gregory or DeMarcus Lawrence, that really thins out your defensive line. And so I guess that would put that in play. But those are the only two to me that would make any sense to even use that. But I don't think they will.
John, thank you. You're like an ER doctor. Your pager, which I know you don't have, but your phone having to cover the Cowboys is like that. Away from the emergency room, it could go off at any time because of who you cover. Thanks for your time as always. John Machota, theathletic.com. And Florida State fan as well. Hey, how about this? Jose Cruz, former baseball infielder Julio Cruz has died at the age of 67.
Do I remember Julio Cruz?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time.
Played with Seattle, I knew that. Played with Chicago. He was a part of the Seattle's inaugural year. Became a Spanish-language broadcaster for the franchise. He died Tuesday.
That's why I know who he is.
Yes.
That's why I know who he is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
why? Because he Spanish language?
Yeah, because I remember watching a thing about the different Spanish language broadcasts, and sometimes I have the MLB app because I like to listen to the Red Sox broadcast, especially when it's the postseason on my phone.
As a Rangers fan, I don't know what the postseason is.
But I do like to flip over sometimes after someone hits a home run or something, the Spanish broadcast. Oh yeah, and I've listened to the Mariners a couple times back in the back in the days when they had good, and that was on the internet, not on the phone, but yeah.
So I was watching the Super Bowl and I was flipping through channels, not paying attention, and I guess I had it muted. And so I was watching, I was like, man, those graphics look weird. Like the down and distance markers, like I've never seen them like write it that way. And then I turned the volume up and I'm like, oh, I'm the Spanish language broadcast. That's why. That's why I had no idea at the time. And so I actually sat and listened to it for like 5 minutes just to get a different vibe. And it was entertaining. That's for sure. I didn't understand half of what was being said, but it was entertaining.
There's a guy on Twitter named Timothy Burke who puts up a bunch of radio highlights, highlights but he uses the radio highlights for big games. And it was interesting to me to hear some of the other English speaking countries and how they do play-by-play compared to America. Mm-hmm. Like England, I mean, it is very verbose, like everything that they get in. But that's how they do it. I mean, because they're used to listening to soccer where proper football, football. But when you're listening to somebody do soccer, they are describing literally every step across, on the radio at least. They're having to describe every step across the way. So not on television because people are watching it, but on the radio, it's a lot more, even more than us. So.
All right, I know you got to get to top five.
I got one note too. This for Texas Tech fans and for Rangers fans, since you just brought up the Rangers. But this came out a couple of hours ago. Josh Young, former Texas Tech baseball star and Rangers top prospect, number one prospect, is going to underwent, I should say, this morning, surgery to repair a torn labrum, according to GM Chris Young. He is actually the number two prospect. I think I said number one. Number two prospect in the system. He's a top 50 guy overall, and rehab's expected to take 6 months. For him to make a full recovery, you're looking at least 6 months. So, yeah, his baseball season is wiped out. He injured his non-throwing shoulder lifting weights in Arizona earlier this month.
Well, you know what?
Talk about snake bit.
They are an organization that when they were hot almost to the point of one pitch away from winning a championship, and then I think they would have won 2 or 3 out of the next 3 to 5 years, and we know the story. But it's just you just get in these funks as a franchise. All right, now, not sure if you've heard this or not. Max Scherzer of the Mets arrived at the latest Major League Baseball meetings trying to find, some way to salvage opening day. It's not going to happen, you wouldn't think. He arrived in a Porsche. Now, there are some that lost their mind over this. So RJ Choppy, a friend of ours, I worked and did some radio with him when he was at ESPN Dallas, and now he's at 105.3 The Fan. He and I trade text on occasion. I'm stunned the amount of people who think it's tone deaf for Max Scherzer to pull up at a labor meeting in a Porsche. Like, did you think he drove a Sentra? Would you rather he rented a Focus for the afternoon? Like, seriously, WTF did you think he drove?
It's not tone deaf. While he's a Porsche, he's trying to make sure that the more guys get Porsches.
That's exactly
what he's doing.
And his owner, owns a home that is the size of maybe California, and had Guy Fieri one time come spend the day with him and gave him $100,000. So everybody's making money.
I think the person who's tone deaf is the one that saw that and went, gosh, how tone deaf to drive a Porsche to the meetings. Like, you're the one that's not putting two and two together. I'm sorry if that's your complaint is the car he drove to these meetings. Well, when you see that Max Scherzer stands to lose over $200,000 per day throughout the lockout, yeah, he's driving a Porsche. He's losing $200,000+ a day for every day the MLB season doesn't go on time. So, yeah, he's driving a nice car, and I don't think that makes him tone deaf showing up to the meetings in the nice car that he drives. I think that's a little bit too much criticism, quite frankly.
John Henry, an owner, has a 217-foot, $90 million boat. But Max Scherzer arrived in a Porsche, and people lost their minds.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
All right, Paul Catalina. We mentioned earlier we had a couple of guests on, former Baylor corner Jamison Houston, who was drafted by Michigan, former Tulsa and Baylor quarterback Zach Smith, drafted by New Orleans, the USFL's draft. There are others. We'll have a couple more guys on tomorrow.
Actually, yeah, Drew Galitz, Baylor punter, was selected just a little while ago by, I believe, the Houston Gamblers franchise. So that's another guy you can chalk up on that list.
You want to know something real quickly? And I know, Paul, I did a story when the Houston Gamblers had Jim Kelly and all those guys, and they were killing people. They were really good. I went down and did a story on them. It aired on SportsCenter on ESPN. I said I'm a three-quarter. I know, Jack, you're losing your mind. You got to go do women's basketball. Paul's top five is next. Go ahead, Jack.
To the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today. Just off Highway 84 on Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long business meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco is a hidden gem. They've got a great selection of spirits, wine, and the most extensive selection of craft beer in Waco in their gorgeous walk-in fridge. And they have an amazing array of high-end bourbons like Pinhook, Weller, Buffalo Trace, Brush Creek, Hotel, Garrison Brothers, Thomas S. Moore, Hooten Young, and Bardstown. Great customer service and a convenient and speedy drive-through window. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
All right, top 5 names you may recognize on day one. This is just day one of the USFL draft. By the time I did this list,
I screwed this up for you. I apologize.
No, you didn't. You did not. Only just one name.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I think we might have mentioned a couple others kind of in passing, but people come and go throughout the show.
And we had 2 of the players drafted from Baylor, Jamison Houston, and then, of course, Tulsa quarterback Zach Smith.
Yeah. Number 5, Jordan Ta'amu from Ole Miss, the CFL, the XFL, and other places, but he's going to be probably the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Bandits, who, by the way, the original Tampa Bay Bandits were named after who?
The Buccaneers?
Burt Reynolds, I'm guessing.
That's right, Burt Reynolds, the part owner of the team.
I actually like that name a lot, Tampa Bay Bandits.
I do too. I think I was going to say, there's like 5 or 6 of the names out of the 8. Did you ever hug him, kiss him,
no,
shake his hand?
My senior year, my last game, I was not what you would call
you were inebriated.
Sober. Yeah. And I was walking up and his limo pulled out about 30 feet from us and he got out and walked into the suites and I yelled, "Bert!" like that. And then he went like that.
Did you pee down your leg when he pointed at you?
It was the best moment of my life.
All right. Okay.
I mean,
All
you
right.
know, so that was our only.
This is a nice enough player. Unfortunately, he's like your number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
And so going back to what I said earlier, with no disrespect towards these guys, you got to have some star power somewhere to really pull in fans and get them invested. So I'm curious how all these leagues, including the Rocks XFL, when that relaunches next year, I'm curious how they're going to do that because I don't think Johnny Manziel gets it done these days, and he clearly didn't, even when he was still somewhat of a name, and he's no longer really a name at all. But hopefully the brand of football is good. That'll help as well. But the star power is my big concern.
Yeah. Number 4, Shea Patterson, quarterback, Michigan Panthers. There are 2, actually, Michigan Panthers quarterbacks. He was the first one of the Michigan Panthers quarterbacks taken. Ole Miss and, of course, transferred to Michigan. Shea Patterson is maybe responsible now more than any other player for the one-time transfer rule. His lawsuit is the one that kind of tipped the scales, and once he won, now – it's changed because Ole Miss had a very scandalous coach get fired, and Shea Patterson was like, "Well, I don't want to be here and play under sanctions, so I'd like to transfer." And the NCAA lost that suit, and Shea Patterson off to Michigan. So,
all right,
yeah,
he was the number 1 overall pick.
I believe he was,
Yeah, he was. Ta'amu was number 2. But, yeah, Patterson was never quite the player that he was billed to be as a recruit. So just chapter 1,000 in that book of guys who were overblown, or maybe a little bit too hyped up. He's a fine player. He was never, it's kind of like what Quinn Ewers could be, but, time will tell. But what certainly Tate Martell and those types of guys. Yeah. He's not that bad, but, just there was a lot of hype for him.
I'll tell you where he messed up. At Ole Miss, he was a quarterback who wore a number in the 20s. When he went to Michigan, he switched to number 2. He should have kept in the 20s. Mm-hmm. He kind of, cut off his uniqueness there. Number 3, former Texas wide receiver Brennan Eagles. Is on his way to the Philadelphia Stars. He was a guy who I thought might stick in the NFL a little bit longer just based on his hands, but, he might be one of the more preeminent wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, he was with the Cowboys for a little while, wasn't he?
For a minute, yeah.
Cup of tea or something like that.
6'4", 220,
yeah, 229. He was a 5 or at least a high 4-star type of guy from what I remember. I know he's definitely a 4-star, super athlete with great size. I don't know if he ever really became the great receiver, at Texas that maybe some people thought he would be, but good player, and I'm sure he'll do well and probably be one of the better players in that league, I would think or hope.
Yeah. Number 2, Kevontae Turpin, former TCU, kind of all over the place guy who was removed from the team after getting in trouble, and then Gary Patterson and his coaching staff having to do some bogus stuff and lie about it, which I believe Kevontae Turpin was one of the first check marks in the box of Gary's got to go. From the TCU administration because of the way he handled it. But he is a guy who has tremendous athletic ability. He can make a lot of different kind of plays. And it'll be interesting to see if he's still got it because it's been a couple years since he's played.
Yeah, I don't think Gary ever wants anybody to really go and do a deep dive of just how many players got in trouble while he was taking shots at that school down south. I think he had plenty of his own problems, and he was very fortunate that just the school he was happened to be biggest rivals with had more problems. Mm-hmm. That kind of clouded what was actually going on. But Turpin's a freak athlete. I mean, dude just got in trouble. He beat up his girlfriend, right? Yeah. That was the deal, and so, that's obviously no bueno. But, as far as a football player goes, tremendous athlete and super speedster, and I'm sure he'll be solid.
Who would have been – I know Jalen Reagor is in the NFL, and he beat Baylor basically by himself one time. Who would have been better at the end of their careers? Would have been still Reagor over Turpin?
I think Reagor was a little better than Turpin.
He's really good. All
right. By the way, but your analysis, Craig, was like L.A. is able to be like, at least we're not San Francisco right now. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Number 1, former first-round draft pick who cried at a Wingstop when he got drafted, Paxton Lynch, is also with the Michigan Panthers.
Yeah, so somebody in your top 5 is going to lose out on a starting job, huh?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for Paxton Lynch last night when I was just Googling through to try to find if there's any Baylor action in the draft, which there was with a couple players, and now a couple players more today being selected. But first headline I saw was historic draft bust, Paxton Lynch drafted by USFL. And I was like, yep, that's just pretty much who you are right now and who you're going to be unless you turn into a star in the USFL, I guess. But, yeah, he was nearly a Cowboy. He was nearly they could have drafted him over Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott now has, $150 million or whatever it is, and Paxton Lynch is the backup quarterback right now,
and that wasn't
for the Michigan Panthers.
And that wasn't to give credit to the Cowboys by design. That was total. People say luck doesn't exist. I do agree that most of the time luck is just the work you had put in prior. That was absolutely luck. That was pure luck that Paxton Lynch got taken and that they end up drafting Dak Prescott.
They were trying to trade back in to get him.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Great stuff, Paul, Craig. Tomorrow with Off the Radar. For all of you, thank you. All of you on YouTube. And today, man, it was busy with different stuff from topics and things we did. We appreciate you and your loyalty, your commitment to us, and our sponsors for what they bring to the table since day one. Tomorrow, Jay Billis. Tomorrow, Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, among others. For Emory and Jack, Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. I'm David Smoak. We love you. Appreciate you from day one. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.